live. Going live. Going live.
You are perhaps in a state of living.
We are live.
Ta-da!
We are not unalived.
Also, did you turn on my microphone? Because I didn't.
I did turn on your microphone.
Excellent. Good.
So, yes.
Hello, people. You can hear me.
You are audible. Well, OBS says you're audible.
Excellent.
So, yes. Hello, everyone. How are we all doing? I'm late. I'm late for a very important date. A conversation in English. You see an old Packard Bell laptop down, right? Probably, yes. Yeah, there's one there somewhere. I forget. There's a couple of laptops in here that... where are you seeing that from now? Because there is an old Packard Bell in here.
Was it on the thumbnail picture?
Oh, yes, it probably was. Might have been, yeah. Oh, well. Anyway, hello. Lidl cider day. It is. Yep, Caradog went to Lidl and went on a spending spree. What are you looking for?
Screwdriver for these.
Yes.
They are everywhere, but...
Whoop.
Excellent.
Yes, Caradog went to Lidl and went on a spending spree. So there is cider, and we're also buying cheap power tools because I needed a electric cordless drill, and I said to Caradog, because I asked Caradog, can I borrow your electric drill because I need it to build a desk this weekend, and he showed up and was like, here's a drill, here's another drill that I have purchased. I'm like, I'll give you some money for that, thank you very much. So he just bought me a bunch of cheap power tools because I keep not buying them. Because I keep going, oh, I need to do research and see what's good and stuff like that. And it's like, no, I just need the cheapest one I can find because I use it once in a blue moon. So, yeah.
I didn't go into Lidl with the intention of buying it. I went into Lidl with the intention of getting breakfast and cider.
Yeah.
And then walked down the middle of Lidl.
Yeah, when you say breakfast, your snack earlier on, that's not the first thing you've eaten all day, is it?
Yes.
I know I'm bad. But...
I don't eat until about 2 on Saturdays.
Yeah. Fair enough. Yeah.
And then I have dinner at some point, and then
yeah,
that's a Saturday.
Yeah, have dinner at like 10 p.m. or something. Yeah. Well, unless we get something together, I guess.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
I just found it funny that I had an early meal with my parents this week, and we sat down to eat at 5 to 9.
And that was early, yeah, fair enough.
When we usually eat at like 7. It was just humorous because it was an early meal that didn't end up starting until like 9.
Oh, I see, yes, okay, very well. Right, Packard Hell as they're known in the trade. But yes, hello everyone, how are we all doing? So today we're going to be... we're doing some waffle with the chat, and I think Caradog and I are just going to take turns to look at stuff. Caradog has got the test bench up on the bench today because the last time we were looking at this, we've been so this is Caradog's work in progress for an extreme overclocking bench, and the problem is he's got a 5950X there and a Crosshair 8.
Yeah, Crosshair 8 Extreme.
Yeah, and a Crosshair 8 Extreme. But the problem is that he cannot get, is it memclock that is, or...
Well, I couldn't get settings that worked very easily on my Gigabyte board to work on this board.
Yeah, basically was having a bad time trying to get the memory settings to any usable state with ease, which are kind of mission critical if we're... Would you like some more thing? Because
there you go.
It looks like you're just deliberately trying to spread thermal paste on.
Yes, because now I can actually read. Now I can actually read the letters.
That's one way of doing it. Okay. Anyway, so he's brought his other 5950X from home, which is a known good.
It's a known not potato.
Yeah.
Yes.
So basically, he's now put that in this same board to find out if the 5950X he's got for this bench is a potato or not. Because the silicon lottery works both ways, basically. Just as you can have a top percentile one, you can also have a bottom percentile one. And we want to find out if that's what's going on here, or whether it's just a weird board. So he is going to have a tinker with that. And then I've got a couple of other things that I'm going to shift around into places. And we're going to do that while we talk about stuff. So yeah, don't forget to mark the bottles. Good advice, T-Rex. Thank you very much. I'm going to do that now. I'm going to get going on mine
See,
straight
I have
away.
a really good idea for that.
Do you? Oh, you're just going to have the Westerns? Yeah, all right. Right, which one is... What strength is this stuff? 7.3. Okay. I'll tell you what, I'll have the Westerns.
Oh, that's 6.8?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, because that's the signature vintage, not the vintage.
Yes. Yeah, it's not the murder vintage. Well, murder for me anyway. I'll have the Westerns then. No, you're not allowed to use that one anymore. We have a better one now.
Look how awful this is.
Oh, if only we
had a solution to this problem.
Yep. Okay.
Ah, fancy that.
Dark Knight Inn bought a different bottle opener for us, so now we have 2 bottle openers.
Ta-da!
Yeah. We're kind of thinking, I had the idea of just making it a bit of a meme that if anyone sees any good novelty bottle openers, send one in.
That are polite enough to be streamed.
Yes. Keep it classy. Send in a novelty bottle opener. Well, it doesn't even have to be a novelty. Just send in bottle openers, and we're going to amass a vast collection of bottle openers. But we're going to put them all on one keychain. So if I can't find it, we've lost all of them.
Do you know what?
So easy. So easy.
And available today for only $19.99. That's right, $19.99.
Well, if I just manually scratch Adamant IT onto this, it becomes a one of a kind.
It becomes merch.
Yeah. Right. Teltac loves the DVD drive on the rig. Well, I put one in there because the thing has space for this, and I was like, well, if it has room for it, I may as well put one there. So if we need a DVD drive, it's there, and we've just got to plug it in. So yeah, that was the plan. Let's see. Dale says, I see you've got the Arctic AIO. Have you checked if you require... Have you checked if it requires the replacement seal kits?
No.
Yeah. Seems to be working okay. I think it only applies on the older ones that have...
It only applies to the new ones.
Oh, the new ones.
Of a certain size batch.
Yeah.
I haven't looked.
A small percentage of customers are affected, to use the Apple terminology.
I mean, legitimately, actually a small percentage, as opposed to just literally anyone with hands.
Yeah.
Thanks, iPhone 4.
Have you checked if this one is affected?
No.
Fair enough. No is the answer to that, Dale. Thanks for coming.
Partially because it's like, it's seen 4 minutes of use in the past month, so I kind of forgot.
Yeah.
So yeah. But no, I intended to double check because I went, oh, that's a thing we can do on the podcast.
Well, yeah, I was going to say, if it actually needed doing, that'd be a show, wouldn't it?
Mm. Because I've got 2 of these
that
are basically the same age, so I presume they're in the same serial number run.
Oh yeah.
So if one of them needs doing, both of them will need doing.
Yeah. Sleepwalker says, I've got a friend who wants to upgrade his graphics card. He wants a 1660 Super, and he wants to upgrade RAM to 16 gigs. Doable for 400 quid total? I should think so. I mean, assuming he's got 8 gigs of RAM, like, if you were doing it on the cheap, you've just got to buy another 8 gig kit. But even if we assumed that you bought an entirely new RAM kit,
that's $50.
I was going to say, I'm assuming it's DDR4.
£50.
So it's going to be $50, £50 for a 16 gig DDR4 RAM kit. That's not garbage.
I mean, it'll be nothing special.
Yeah, so that leaves you with that leaves you with about 350 quid to spend on a graphics card. 350 quid. You could probably get. You could probably find a 6600 XT for that, couldn't you?
I've seen 6700s going for
really
£319.
No, yeah. Okay. Well, there you go. Don't forget Team Red for graphics cards. I know a lot of people are
better.
I know a lot of people are just like,
angry.
I want Nvidia, but the 6000 series of graphics cards, they are good. The 6600 XT is in that price range, and it's good. The 6700 is in that price range, and it's good. So yeah, I would seriously consider looking at one of those. 1660 Super, yeah, he'll definitely find that, but I would be looking for a current generation card rather than a previous gen card.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, Marcus said he got a
yes,
second-hand 6700 XT for $400. So yeah, that's
Yeah.
definitely doable. Dale about the coolers says he bought his in Feb and it needs to be replaced. He ordered the kit 2 weeks ago but hasn't seen it yet.
Yeah.
He's currently got a bizarre 12 gigabyte setup RAM. Yeah, I would just
Replace
buy
all of it.
Yeah, buy a 16 gig kit, rip it all out, just put a dual stick 16 gig kit in there. I would just pull it all out in that case because he's going to have a weird, horrible mismatch of stuff. Just buy a brand new 16 gig kit and don't look back. If he's got 400 quid to spend and his target is a 1660 Super, he's easily got enough money for a brand new 16 gig kit and a nice AMD graphics card. I would be saying to look for 3060s and 3060 Ti's, but the 3060 and Ti are still a bit overpriced for what they are.
£500?
Yeah,
I've seen 3060s at £500.
That's it. They're just
like
they're still
for £200 more than the 3060. I can buy a 3090.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, the 3060 and the Ti, the price on those still doesn't make sense. I think it's because that's the one that everyone wants, so it's inflating the price when the AMD equivalent is like £200 cheaper and will easily trade blows or go faster. Yeah. So that's what you told him about the RAM. Yeah. Yeah.
Adapter options.
Afternoon, floor lamp. Anything explode yet? No, it's too soon for that. Caradog is checking to see if his 5950X is a potato or not. Are you doing anything interesting? Shall I get the capture going?
Not specifically. However, between the home hub over there and the motherboard there with no aerials on it, it's got a link speed jumping between 180 and 390, which is surprisingly good given there's no aerials.
That's not bad. I bet the link quality is awful though, because it just went from 5 bars to 2 bars.
And then back up to 3.
Yeah.
So, I'm not expecting it to be good, but I'm just like, that's impressive all the same, though.
Whenever you're dealing in wireless, signal strength and signal quality aren't the same thing, and it displays signal strength.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So, which is why I look at the link speed to kind of get an indication.
Yeah. This is what made me rage quit doing call at home visits, because I was so sick and tired of setting up a wireless network, seeing good signal strength, and being like, yeah, that'll do. But because the signal quality is bad, it falls over the moment you actually use it for any kind of real life use.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Apparently there's 3060s for 300 quid at Overclockers UK at the moment.
Oh, that's better.
Yeah. So, if you shop around, it's out there. Yeah, 3060 hang on a sec. 300 quid from Overclockers, 360 from Scan. So, shop around. It's all out there.
Oh, that's good. Also, what's happened?
Yep. Michael says, do you know where I can find PWM 120mm fan motors? You want to print a counter-rotating fan. Oh, interesting. So yeah, you want to you want to make a reverse-bladed fan. Yeah.
That's amazing.
I wouldn't.
See, is it not worth buying some really cheap fans for like £1 or something off of eBay and just pulling the hubs off?
A lot of modern fans, you can't disassemble them without butchering them. That's the problem.
But you don't care because you're replacing. So you just break off the plastic from the motor. To make sure that you're destroying the plastic.
The bearing is molded into the plastic as well, though. That's the problem.
Oh, I see.
Okay. The spindle is molded in, and the spindle has indentations on it that form the bearing.
Right. Oh, so I see. Okay. I assumed it was a spindle with a bearing inside formed plastic. Yeah.
I think
so you could then break the plastic.
Yeah. If you took to bits like a really expensive fan, like a Noctua or a Corsair, you might find something that you could actually disassemble there. But also, I wouldn't want to risk a really nice fan. So I don't know is the answer to that one. I'm afraid. Interesting one because just reverse bladed fans are really interesting in certain circumstances. I'm going to get you guys a capture just so you can see what Caradog is tinkering with as well. XR1?
What are my frequencies?
There
you go.
Let's go over to that. Pow.
The answer to the question is the 5950X, which is in there, is unpotate.
Okay, so have you bashed in the settings that you want on this and it's just worked?
No, I've just put 3800, 1900, and
Yeah.
it's worked.
Okay, but that was not working on the other one.
It can do 3733.
Yeah.
So yes.
Yeah.
I'm intentionally doing that so I remember to place it over here.
Yeah.
I'm making a point of it in my head so it goes over here.
Yeah, I mean, if it's within if it's within this radius, it's in danger, basically. So,
What's that about your sweep radius?
yeah.
Bing, bing.
Anyway, all right. Does anyone want to buy a 5950X? Top quality, never been overclocked.
Yeah, it has never been overclocked.
Because it can't.
However, the thing that's really annoying about it is I think it gets better. It has better cores.
Mm.
So the memory controller, Infinity Fabric, is bad, but the actual cores are really good.
Yeah. So it depends what numbers you want to get on it, then, doesn't it? If you want to go high clock speed, that's going to be a half decent chip. But if you actually want to do if you want
actual performance,
yeah, if you want computational numbers, because it depends. Like if you were doing like Cinebench runs, then you'd want the clocks. But if you were trying to do really high, Linpack numbers or something like that, you'd want the memory speed, or combination thereof. So yeah.
What on earth is going on here?
Johnny the Fixer says it took a Cooler Master 200mm fan apart to add a bit of grease, and now it's worse than ever. Yeah, a lot of fans just aren't serviceable. Like every time I replace a laptop cooling fan, everyone's just like, "Oh, you could have put a bit of oil on that and it would have been fine." I'm just like,
no.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong. Sometimes you can, oil them or stick a bit of graphite powder in there, and they'll go for another 6 months. But no, they're just not serviceable, unfortunately. What are you perplexed by?
So Zen 5. Hold on, it's not Zen 5. Let's get this right. Ryzen 5000.
You had that, yeah.
Ryzen 5000 Zen 3.
Ryzen, yeah.
What boost clocks do you expect out of something that isn't, throttling up the wazoo?
For a 5950X or what? For a 5950.
For anything.
A high-end Ryzen 5000, so like 5800, 5900, 5950X, the high-end chips. I would be all core. I would be looking for 5 gigahertz. Well, 5 gigahertz at the top end for an all core boost.
But like it actually maintaining something above 4.
Yeah, I would bloody hope it gives it above 4. Yeah, no, that's yeah. Wait, hang on a sec. Oh no, yeah. Your maximum. Which ones are we looking at? Are we under load at the moment?
Yes.
Oh yeah, so it's looking for 3738. Yeah, that's okay. Like we're at stock though, aren't we?
Yeah, but it should be floating at like 4.2 because that's what it does in my gigabyte. So I'm just like, what?
Oh wait, no, I'm missing a number. 36. Yeah, sorry, I was thinking of 4647. Yeah, so yeah, I'm missing a gigahertz off of these numbers.
There is like 400 to 800 megahertz of clock speed missing.
Yeah, sorry, I was thinking 3700, 3800. I'm like, yeah, well, that's what my 5800Xs do. However, no, that's 36,700, 3800 kind of thing.
So I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, no, you're.
What?
Well, again, this is. Are we under load?
Not now.
Yeah. Oh, okay, yeah.
But not under load. I would expect it to float to 5 gigahertz, which is what it was doing.
Oh yeah, but idle doesn't mean anything though.
No. But I would expect it to float up to 5 gigahertz, which is what it was doing. But then under load, it's at 3.8, and I'm just like,
yeah. Okay,
what?
Yeah. Let's have a.
You're somewhat missing some clocks there.
We'll see. Yeah.
However,
didn't I sell you a dud CPU? Not deliberately.
Absolutely not. Oops. Cancel.
Okay, let's see. Eslam is offering 2,000 EGPs. Is that it?
I don't know.
I
don't know what that is.
I'm going to Google it for fear of just saying something unwittingly really racist. EGP to GBP. It is Egyptian pounds. Yeah.
Excellent.
I was like, is that like Egyptian pounds, or am I just going? It begins with E, so it's Egyptian. You know.
I mean, it wouldn't be that inappropriate to assume that, because as far as I'm aware, they have said several times that they are Egyptian.
I didn't know that the Egyptian currency was also a pound.
Yes.
I mean, obviously that's a product of colonialism, but just like I don't know why I'm just surprised that it's still just Egyptian pounds. I just didn't know that was a thing. Yeah. However, the problem is that that's 90 quid. So
no.
There's your answer, Aslan. Thanks for coming. So, let's see. Scrolling through. 16-core chip, base frequency of 3.4. Yeah, so it's just sitting at base, basically.
It is very much not... that's prime. I don't want you.
Been adding oil to an Intel stock fans for close to a decade. Keeps it going. Yeah, as I say, sometimes you can oil a fan and it will keep going, but I don't think it's reliable. Stormy says, my 5900X died about a month ago. Did an RMA with AMD. Process only took about a week. Sent off your broken hot B0 stepping chip, and they sent you a nice shiny B2 that's 12 degrees cooler under load. Damn, that worked out all right, didn't it? Rob Day, hello, hello.
Can I interest you in a nice...
Rob Day says, hello. Finally managed to catch a live stream. Usually got to watch the VOD. Love the shows. Did I ever receive the Ryzen 3600 that was pot dead? Oh, yes. Yeah. The 3600 that was... Yeah, we looked at that and it was kill, wasn't it? Do you remember there was a 3600 that showed up in the post that was dead, and we were post-testing other stuff and we determined that it was indeed dead. I don't know if you remember. I remember it.
Kind of.
Yeah. No, I remember looking at that, and it was just a dead CPU, which was a bummer. But yeah, I remember. Oh, I saw that when you knock the bottle against your front tooth. Yes, no, we did see it, and yeah, unfortunately, it was indeed dead. So bit of a bummer, that one. Cool.
The problem is I have no guideline as to what good points for Cinebench 23 are. But I'm presuming not 25,000 because I'm only doing 3.8.
Yeah. I mean, do you want me to quickly Cinebench the 3800X over there just as a low baseline? Because it's a case of whatever that one does, you should be seeing noticeably higher numbers than it.
But also just 32 threads go brrr.
Yeah. Let's fix CPUs. No, it's never the CPU. Except when it is.
Yeah. I don't
know. Has anyone got a 5950X? What's the typical Cinebench score for one?
So I'm just confused.
However,
as to what
it's
the clocks
it's just
are
not
doing.
boosting. I mean,
because if I do a single-threaded one,
what's your temperature?
Maximum of 60C, which I'm impressed by.
Yeah, I was going to say. So that's that it's not thermal limited, is it?
And it's definitely pumping 1.46 volts into the CPU, so it's not voltage limited.
I mean, there's 4.6.
Yeah,
it's not holding it though, is it?
Single core, it's doing okay.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just not boosting properly.
Which is a bit weird. Oh, aren't we on a super ancient BIOS for this as well?
Oh, possibly. Yeah, so we could.
So we should probably stick the new BIOS on here.
Yeah.
I will double check the version.
I'll grab a flash drive. I was going to say we could stick a new BIOS on there. Then I mean, if that. Oh well, I mean, this chip you had on another board at home. I was going to say we've still got a Strix board there as well because I still haven't fitted that to my PC. So we've got another motherboard.
The CPU
but the
is
CPUs are known
fine
good, so,
for 4.2, 4.4 all core.
Yeah.
So it's just something in the configuration is incorrect.
Will it not do higher than that on a 5950X? I suppose I know it's got
all core.
Oh yeah,
That's all core.
Yeah, it is a 16 core chip, isn't it?
It will do 5.1 gigahertz on 2 cores, 3 cores.
Yeah, because again, like the 5800X will do 4748 all core without trouble. And you know, with tweaks, you can push it up to I've had it up at 4.9, but it starts clock stretching. So
yeah.
Either way, we're in the wrong thousands.
This is 0801.
Apparently, we're looking for about the high 28,000, so 28, 29,000.
This is only 25.
Yeah, so yeah, it's definitely down.
Yeah.
And yes, we are on a super old BIOS. We were exploring that. Let me grab you a flash drive.
Indeed.
I think
I will just clear CMOS and see what it does on a clear CMOS as well.
Yeah, I'll get you a BIOS while you do that.
Yes. Don't forget to minimize.
Yep. Yep. I have remembered that I'm in a VM. Let's put that there. All right. Let's grab something else to talk to while I do that. Never been the CPU, except when it's a Ryzen 3600 that Rob Day sent in. Indeed. You never got 23K on your air cooler with a 5950X, or what CPU was that, Brian? 5950X PBO averaged 28,000 plus. Yeah, so confirm there. Thanks for defaulting me to Top Chat, YouTube. Yeah, I remember to change it to live chat. I'm in the habit now. Thought 0801 was the most recent. We're about to find out. I'm going to quickly look that up. One sec while I minimize chat, everyone.
Also, please may we post?
Yeah, it's still cycling at the moment. Right, Asus Crosshair 8.
Extreme! Explosion!
I fix it.
They'll fix your friend.
That's still the best integration ever. I can only aspire to come up with something that good.
Fix your friends. They'll appreciate it.
Absolutely legendary. Let's see. Supports. Go away cookies. Driver utility. BIOS and firmware. 0801 is the most recent. What did you have?
0801.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah, we're already on recent. Yeah, so, yeah, BIOS isn't going to help. It's already on the latest.
Yep. Very well.
BIOS is a no-go. It's not the BIOS. 5900X. Your CPU best was about 22,300. Yeah, that sounds like you're being limited there, Brian. A 5900X should be I mean, it's not going to be as fast as a 5950X, but I would be looking for a higher score than that. Something's off there. I assume anyway. Well, what's the 5900X? That's 16 thread. No, that's 12, isn't
12
it?
core, 24 thread.
Yeah.
Okay, I have gained 92 megahertz.
All right, I'm excited for you. But
by clearing CMOS. However, this will also show us what XMP does.
I mean, Cinebench doesn't care about RAM speed, though, does it?
Yeah, but it's also reset the Infinity Fabric speed. Yeah, so we're a smidgen slower, less than 100. Less than 1,000 points difference.
That sounds like you're being limited there. It's a good shirt slogan. Only the top tier advice on this podcast. Just like sort of, that does sound like a problem. Next question, How to listen to someone's problem and be like, yeah, that's a very interesting one. Yep, well, good luck with that. So
oh yeah, that sounds like a doozy. Yeah. Best of luck.
Yes. Firephone, what's up, my dude? How's it going? Would a reflow help on that chip on the Mac? It might have. I wish I'd tried reflowing it just to find out. However, a lot of people on this week's video, when I replaced that voltage supervisor chip, a lot of people were saying that the ground pin looked corroded or tarnished. However, I think that was actually a trick of the light. I think the solder had actually just lifted up into a spike on that pad, so it wasn't reflecting the light the same way the other pads were, and it made it look bad or discolored. I don't think there was actually anything wrong with that ground pad, because the other thing to remember is that there was also the thermal ground pad for the chip, and the chip was receiving, was actually getting some signals on it. So I don't think there was a problem with its connection. Reflowing it might have helped, but wish I'd done it, but I don't think that actually would have done it.
Interesting.
So
the generic overclocking profile built into this board sets an all-core curve optimizer. There we go, of -15, just as a default thing, and apparently some voltage suspension thing, and sets the UEFI mode to other OS.
Oh, well, that turns off secure boot, doesn't it?
How bizarre.
Yeah.
Interesting.
At any rate, yeah, -16. I mean, -16 on the curve optimizer. -15 was it? Sorry,
15.
15. Yeah, -15 on the curve optimizer. That's definitely going to get you higher indicated clock speeds. But
in theory,
in everything, in all of our testing, it will also just stretch to get those clocks. So you get higher indicated speed, but it doesn't actually go any faster, which is what the clock stretching phenomenon is, where it's hitting higher clock speeds, but the actual work done, the IPC, is lower. It's a very bizarre wall to be up against.
I didn't realise it was also a thing that the 10 series NVIDIA GPUs did as well.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, either way, yeah, if you're overclocking, remember, clock doesn't mean anything.
Performance is performance.
Yeah, exactly. Be right back, everyone.
Indubitably. So yes, I will see what that does for us. There you go. Right. And that is running. That is going. Oh, there you go. And now we're instantly getting 4.2. Interesting. Very well. Yeah. Interesting. The door. The latch.
Yeah, I know.
The latch. Oh. Everyone else shut us in.
Yeah. Closing the curtains. I need my private time with Caradog.
There we go. We now have 27,766.
Oh, sweet. What did it? Just that overclocking profile.
That overclocking profile thing.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because it shows something in the default profile is therefore limiting it.
I'd be curious to have a rummage around in the bar settings now, because you shouldn't have to apply an overclocking profile to get stock performance.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
However, interesting.
Yeah. I mean, it shows that it can do it.
And it's certainly getting higher actual score.
What was the all-core clocks for that?
So like 4.2?
Yeah, run it again and monitor.
What? There you go, like 4.25 there. And now the temperature, the CPU is going up to 80.
Yeah, we're hearing actual load now, aren't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot closer to what we should be getting, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah, I would. It depends on how much time that we want to put into this. Really, it's kind of a case of because like we're getting the performance now, but again, you shouldn't need to apply an overclocking profile to get that.
Yeah, it's just a bit odd.
Yeah.
Sorry, hold on. If I run that.
Unless, like you say, just the default settings are just super safe.
Yeah.
Because, like, I can't remember what it was, but there are we've seen boards that do this before, where, like, for example, most boards have like a all core optimizer mode, which just switches off the AMD or Intel limitations. Doesn't apply an overclock. It just says like you may boost indefinitely and stuff like that. And a lot of them have a habit of just being awful unless you have that enabled. Like it's actually surprisingly difficult to attain stock speeds with some motherboards. So maybe that's what's going on here.
Yeah. Is
that just the stock profile is just trash and you're expected to start dialing in settings.
Yeah.
So yeah. Take myself. Look, I don't know. Shush. Quiet, Chris. Right.
But yes, running it on my old X570. That's when I pulled like 500 watts on that 5950X.
Okay, right. So, going back through the chat, AJ says Jehovah's Witness at the door. You say that. It wasn't this time, but they've been doing the rounds this week, and I'm not even joking. I don't want to talk smack, but they came in. I feel like there was one trying to hoodwink me this week. He comes in and he puts a card on the table that has got jw.org, and I'm just like, oh god, here we go. And he says sort of, oh, there's some free online courses that you can get from this website. Might be useful for an IT person. And I'm just like, and I'm like, I didn't say it because I don't have arguments with people. What I actually said to him was, that's not something I'm interested in. Thank you anyway. And he left. But I'm looking at it. I'm like, what, are you trying to trick me? I know what jw.org is. Like, were you trying to catch me out and sort of make me not realize that you're trying to indoctrinate me into a cult? It's just like, what was your plan here? Because he was trying to sort of be like, sort of, this is something you might find useful kind of thing. I'm just like, no, this is a cult. Go away, Anyway, I don't think it's particularly offensive to call Jehovah's Witnesses a cult. Because you're saying diplomatically silent on that one.
Well, kind of constructing the thing. So a lot of the time, with that, the cold calling, door knocking isn't for you.
It's for them, isn't it?
Isn't for the person who's doing it. It's for the community, because it provides the community with an experienced data point of saying, those people don't accept you. The only place you're accepted is here.
Yeah.
Therefore, makes people feel like they can't exist in the outside world because people don't accept them.
Yeah. I don't know. It is. I am right in saying the Jehovah's Witnesses. Those are the dudes where they're like, yeah, only 50,000 people get into heaven total when the rapture comes or something, isn't it?
I think so.
Yeah, and it's just like, my dude, those odds are not in your favour. I'm pretty certain there's more than 50,000 of Jehovah's Witnesses in the world. So, like, you're going to have a battle royale internally, but when the rapture comes. Anyway.
I'm sorry, I'm just imagining that now.
Yeah. They've got $100 billion worth of real estate, but they still want your cider money. Ugh. All right.
100 billion people used to live here.
Now it's a ghost town because everyone's gone to. Anyway. What's up, Paul Daniels? How you doing? However, the person who came to the door just then was not a Jehovah's Witness, but
they were in fact a very nice person.
Yes, they were indeed a very nice person, asking if their computer was done yet. Anyway, Joho Battle Royale. Okay, no, we're moving on from this. Anyway, all right.
This week in technology news, Intel cancels ARC.
Have they yet?
That is the rumor that do come out.
I mean, they keep making these rumors.
The rumor do come out from places that I'm inclined to believe.
Well, that's just it. They're deep in sunken cost at the moment, aren't they? Kind of thing. and it's just like
not specifically, because it's also sort of a case of what you expected to make profit on the first generation of a product against a competitor that turned over $8 billion last year, against a competitor that's got 30 years of experience.
Yeah, that's just it. Like, in my opinion, like I think they should keep going. I think there's a lot of people who are just like, give it up, it didn't work, and I've got a feeling like their shareholders and stuff like that are going, you know, you release a product and it's flopping, therefore we don't want you to continue with this. And I think the engineers are just like, no, this is what we expected, but
it is dramatically less functional than expected.
Yeah, even for a first gen product, it's struggling though. Isn't it? You're right there.
Why is vCore set to 1.44? I don't want an override. I want to set an actual number.
This is the Caradog Fiddling with BIOS Settings podcast. No? Yeah. He's got... Okay, how far into the podcast are we? We're at 41 minutes.
I am doing this whilst we talk, for the lack of anything else being done whilst we talk.
That is fair. That is fair.
If you have other things you would rather be doing, you may do those other things.
Possibly. I mean, as I say, I've got a PS4 that needs to be taken to bits to see if the fan is seized. And I've got a computer that I want to put more RGB fans in it. Vote now, everyone. Do we take apart a PS4 or do we put more RGB fans in a computer? Oh yeah. Also, I want to put a water cooler in the thing, which is what was in the thumbnail. So, like,
do you actually have a working water cooler that will fit?
Yes, the one out of here.
Okay.
Yep. Because the reason why we didn't want to put one in there previously is I didn't have a 140mm water cooler with Intel mounts. However, there's one in this case that we took out. So yeah. Oh, everyone's saying PS4. There's some calls for RGB, but everyone's saying the PS4. So okay. We might just push this off the counter in a minute, and start doing the PS4.
A, B, C, or D.
Rumours Arc is cancelled, but their graphics will be more focused on server and compute side, not retail gaming.
Yeah,
that would kind of make sense to pivot it, because that's what they already have. That is what it is good at. What are you getting now? I mean, I can see you're getting 3 gigahertz all core, which is a bit concerning.
What? This makes no sense at all. Am I just blowing past PPT?
Got any interesting cases in for repair? No live repair. I'm not brave enough. If you want live repair, go and watch Paul Daniels. Paul Daniels is the live repair man now. I'm not brave enough, because you'll see what happened with the motherboard. I started looking at the motherboard and I was like, I don't know how to fix this. Now my stress levels are going through the roof because I'm on a live stream with a thing that I have no idea how to fix.
Yay! An artificial 5 gigahertz.
Artificial 5 gigahertz? What did you just... Oh, yeah. Oh, you single core 5 gigahertz in?
Yeah.
Very well. Live repair isn't that bad. It's okay when you... I'm not at the level to do that yet. I don't have enough parts on hand and enough experience to go, this is X, I need Y, kind of thing. But yeah. Anyway, I'll grab the PS4 and we'll start on that in a minute. I'm always interested watching Cinebench run and how there are certain squares that it tears through and certain squares where it goes, oh, there's a glass in this one, it's going to take 4 times longer to do.
Yeah, which is specifically the one it's on, the one with the jug in.
Yeah.
The beginning of that jug takes a long time.
Yeah.
And then like it goes, oh, this is a chair. Oof.
Yeah. Graham shave for charity? No.
What I want from this to know is if I can get it to render a higher resolution version of that, just so I can actually view it bigger than this, and be like, ah.
Well, you probably need. You probably actually need. What is Cinebench based on again?
Isn't it 4D cinema? I
Yeah.
can't remember.
You probably need that. Because this is just running a fixed, baked-in run.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you had Cinema 4D, then yeah, that'd be what you'd use. So, yeah, Cinema 4D. Although also, I think most days, if people want to do stuff like that, they just do they just run up Blender and do like Classroom or BMW or whatever the trendy ones are. Yeah, and yeah, Floorlamp was asking if there's anything in the shop that's interesting for repair. Yeah, not at the moment. There's a lot in at the moment, and I don't have a very good grasp on what's all in for repair. I'm just looking at the ticket list going, there's an easy one right now. So yeah, not at the moment. Although interestingly, this PS4 is in for repair, so we are actually doing work if we do that. Let's see, two 27-inch 1440 screens or a single 49-inch ultra wide?
2 screens.
Yeah, personally, I would go 2 because it's easier to utilize the space on 2 screens. If you have an ultra wide, you need to use lots of third-party utilities to use the space, in my opinion. And also, if you have 2 monitors, you can always switch another one to a different input or plug it into another computer, kind of thing. So you inherently have more utility because you own more screens. So yeah. Right, yeah. We'll wait for this to run through and then we'll change over them. Yeah, Paul Daniels utilizing 27-inch iMacs as screens. Yeah, does that actually work in real life? Because I know some of the iMacs support input for display, but I've always considered it to be a bit of a party trick where it's a case of yes, some of them can actually do it, but it's not something that's really useful in real life.
It'd be useful if you could switch between the 2.
I guess.
So you could run it as an input and also run the machine and just switch between the 2.
Yeah.
That would make it more useful.
Yeah, that would be potentially useful because like the only reason why you might want to do it in the first place is A, if the computer part of the iMac is broken beyond repair, or B, if it's obsolete. So you just want to at least be able to still utilize the screen. But
or C, you've got a MacBook and you were doing work out on the road, and then you plug it in and go 2 screens on the laptop, and then copy stuff around, set up syncing stuff.
I feel like just being able to move your session to another computer is a much better solution to that, though.
Absolutely, but just a case of having that option as well. And also a case of just because it is a screen, it being able to accept inputs as a screen.
Yeah.
Makes sense, because you could have a PlayStation or an Xbox.
That makes sense, yeah. Yeah. Yep, that does make sense, using it for that kind of thing. And that makes even more sense if you're a Mac user as well, because you're more likely to have a console for games. Because you're certainly not going to game on a Mac.
I'll have you know, Bungie have released at least 2 games on Mac. That's where they came from.
I thought you were about... For a moment, I thought you were going to be like, you can play Halo Infinite on Mac for the 10 people that are still playing Halo Infinite at the moment. Right, can you get OLED PC monitors yet? Yes. There's some of them coming out, and we don't know whether they're good long term yet.
There's
or
also
not,
the Alienware AW34 something, which is the 34-inch ultra wide, which is QD OLED.
Yeah. However, yeah, they're coming out, and I'm excited. We spoke about these last week, and I'm just like, yeah, I'm into it. I'm ready. I want one. I'm not going to buy one because I've got nice monitors again, as we discussed last week. But I'm into it, and when the opportunity arises, I want an OLED screen in front of me at home. So yeah, you can play Dota. Oof.
You can probably get Valorant to work. It's simple enough that 8 abstraction layers will still mean you get 30 FPS, like a console.
Whenever someone says this is good for esports, that's code for it's bad, because esports run on anything.
Esports runs on a Mac.
I've spoken.
Can your $6,000 iMac Pro run CS:GO at more than 60 FPS?
I've spoken to a couple of people recently who are planning on buying new MacBooks in the future, and I was just like, you know, have you considered just not buying a MacBook and getting something else? Because the you know, like for the storage that they want and things like that, the price, like they want like a terabyte of storage, and getting a terabyte of storage on a modern MacBook is just eye-wateringly expensive, and I'm like, it doesn't make sense. You know, your budget is £2,000 to get this. £2,000 on a laptop that is just a thin and light, because like they're looking to get a MacBook Air with a terabyte of storage, and it's like £2,000. I'm like, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. Just think of the repair jobs you're missing out on by dissuading people from buying MacBooks.
Or I could repair the HP they bought.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Not necessarily. If you're still giving them advice that they think is good advice and they feel warmly towards you, they'll still ask you to repair whatever device they buy.
Yeah, yeah. Quentin Stevens says, can you explain why 30 FPS, etc. is a good thing? Well, your frame...
It isn't.
Yeah, I was going to say, your frame rate only needs... okay, so firstly, for the vast majority of people, your frame rate only needs to be as high as your monitor can display. So if you've got a 60 hertz monitor, you're aiming for 60 FPS. If you've got a high refresh rate monitor, say 144 or 165 hertz, you're aiming for 144 or 165 FPS. And that gives you a much smoother gameplay, and it's really good. It's worth having. Now, if you're an actual competitive gamer, as in you're playing in competitions, I don't mean you play competitive in Overwatch or whatever. I mean you actually play in competitions. Then at that point, high FPS is good, because even though your monitor can't display higher FPS, it means when your monitor does refresh, it has the most latest frame it can possibly get. Because if you, let's say that you're, to use the CS:GO example, if you're watching an alleyway and you're waiting for someone to run across that alley, if you're only rendering at 60 hertz or 60 FPS, if you render at, say, 300 FPS on a 60 hertz monitor, when the monitor does refresh, it's refreshing with a frame that is that bit newer than the last one that came out. So, but the thing is, you have to be at the cutting edge of competition for that to actually matter. For anyone who's just a home gamer that plays a bit of competitive online, it doesn't matter. I don't care how fast you think your reactions are, they're not that fast. Also, if you're over the age of 20, they're not that fast.
Speaks for yourself.
I do. I am speaking for myself. So
we're not all slow like you, old man.
Yeah. However, 144 or 165 hertz and FPS is well worth having. It's visually so much smoother. It's really nice. I've got 165 at home and I've got 60 in the shop. When I'm playing on the shop computers, I am just like, 60 hertz. You know, I mean, don't get me wrong, it's fine, but it is really nice having that high refresh. It's worth having. So, right, let's see. Is Team Green your new sponsor? No, this is just a t-shirt I have. I won it in a contest. I can't remember what the contest was for. Got it from LAN Raiders one point. Right, whatever you're doing, it's time to stop. I'm taking apart a PS4. However, I'm going to move the camera across and you can carry on fiddling with that. Or you actually have to pay attention to chat. Make your choice. Okay. How old am I? Hang on a sec. I need to do maths to remember.
Oh my god.
Well, you stop caring after a while. I'm 37, I think. Or 36. We're on an even year, so I'm 36. Yes, 36. Yeah. It's easy to forget. Someone in the chat back me up. You do lose count, don't you? And you have to be like, oh, this much, yeah. You're not going to make me doubt myself. I've got friends who are just like, yeah, I know that feel.
As long as you know what year you were born in.
Yeah.
And what day you were born on.
Yeah, I guess that's my birthday.
I guess that's enough.
36, get off my lawn. Yeah, I know. Past 50, you forget. Yeah. Actually older than... Oh, yeah, good. For a moment, Spud, I thought you were about to say you look older than I thought you were. And I was going to be like, thanks. Appreciate it. However...
You look fucking past it.
Yep. You're only as old as you think you are. And this 36-year-old still wears bunny ears on Twitch streams. So... Old enough to play video games. Always. Always. Caradog is over 18. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, he is old enough to be drinking. Ugh. Right. Okay, I'm going to rearrange. I'm going to put the laptop... I don't need this. I can go there. I can go there. And we don't need this many bottles of cider on the counter. I mean, you can never have too many, but...
You'll get a reputation or something.
Well, as you keep telling me, we don't have to worry about the quality of these streams that much. Okay, right. I'm hiding what you're up to while I do this. Bench cam? Did it. Bench cam? There we go. Whoop.
Ah, it's a 12 FPS bench cam.
It's considering we're watching that through RDP, it's not bad, is it? I'm always amazed. Right, I'm taking this PS4 apart. It's not that exciting to watch, but yeah, it's going to be very dusty inside. I want to see if the fan is seized, basically. So yeah. Chris's liver is at least 200 years old. Right, that bit slides off. I need a screwdriver. I'm going to need more screwdrivers. We old enough to run Crisis, yeah. Right, we need a new topic. Watching the new Game of Thrones? Nope, don't care. If you're into that, that's cool. I don't watch TV though. Right, hard drive comes out. And I need a T8, I think that is.
It's to the right of the mouse mat.
Oh. This mouse mat over here, yep. And I also need... there's another screwdriver I need to grab as well. It's over there.
Of some kind. Whoop. I need some kind of driver of screws.
Whoop. My son's PlayStation is broken. Can you fix it?
Hydra node. Okay.
All right, I'm going to savage these security screws.
I
had YouTube commenters yell at me for breaking the security posts off of security screws. I'm just like, what do you care, man?
Why?
Yeah, like, why would you want screws to be security screws? Right, so the rough procedure, I'm not an expert at taking PlayStation 4s apart, but the rough procedure is just to take out every screw in sight and eventually the covers start coming off. So Sony wants to know your location. Going back to the discussion on monitor refresh rates, what FPS is best and what refresh rate would you say limit the refresh rate at the game to match the monitor? Yeah, I would limit the game to match the monitor, yes, because as I say, unless you're a competition gamer, you're not going to see any benefit of running a refresh rate higher than the monitor. And even then, at high refresh rates, it becomes even less of an issue. Like the example I gave of getting the most up-to-date frame, I think even that falls apart once you get to high refresh rate anyway. I think that's only really useful if you're at a refresh rate of 60 Hertz, because that's relatively slow by modern standards. Personally, I think 144 or 165 is where it's at. I have 165 Hertz monitors at home, and I tend to run, if it's a heavy game, I tend to run it at 120 or 140 because I like not maxing my graphics card, just because it means cooler and quieter. But if it's a lightweight game, I run it at 165 because that's the native of the monitor. But yeah, I think, what was that? Oh. I think 144 or 165 is the sweet spot because it's fairly attainable as well. I think running refresh rates any higher than that is, you have to pay a huge amount of money for a monitor that can do that kind of refresh rate well. And a lot of cheap monitors that say they can do like 200 Hertz or 300, they are theoretically displaying it. Whether they're displaying it well or not is another question. So, yeah. Yours is a 75 Hertz, so limit to 75 FPS. Yeah, that's correct, yeah. Assuming you're actually displaying at 75 Hertz, because a lot of monitors just default to 60, even if they're 75 Hertz monitors. Ooh. Oh. How will our daily lives change for the next 10 days? Are the banks also closed?
Hey?
Because the Queen died, so just the UK is cancelled because Liz died. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Thankfully, oh, have we crashed? Or is that just my RDP session?
Oh.
Could you tap the space bar on the computer over there? No. Okay, hang on a sec. I'm going to try and reconnect.
Child.
Okay, right. The internet is back up. I'm reconnecting the RDP session. All right, I think we're coming back. There we go. Right. I think we're back. We're back. And let's just refresh that chat. Top chat. There we go. All right, there we go. We're back. All right, there we go. Caradog's cranking up the generator. Yeah. No, the internet had a wobbly. I don't know. I think it was the router. I use a. I'm only on a BT Home hub, and I think the BT hub just had a wobbly and fell over. It was sort of. It took its time to do so because it sort of wobbled for a while before actually dying. There we go. JW Revenge. Oh no. All right, we're back.
That would be humorous.
We're back. All right, thanks for bearing with us, everyone. I will carry on taking this PS4 apart. Maybe put more than 50p in the meter. Oh, don't even joke. Right, let's see. Da-da-da. All out of focus and a lone voice is like, is anyone there? Good. Right, okay, right. We're back. I will carry on taking this apart then. So yes, I think as we were saying, and I was kind of at the end of that bit where I was just saying that I think 144 or 165 Hertz is the sweet spot. It's fairly easy to do, and you can get good monitors in that range, and you get a good benefit. I don't think there's much benefit of going any further than that unless you're doing something that is incredibly motion sensitive. So yeah. Right, Caradog popped out to Tesco. No, Caradog was walking around sending messages to chat, so do get a decent one with VLAN support. Yeah, I do need to get a decent router at some point. I'm probably going to change it all soon because I'm going to upgrade to gigabit broadband in here, or well, BT Fiber 900 or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Full fiber. I'm going to get BT full fiber in here in the near future, and I'll probably redo the network setup then. So yeah. Right. Let's see. 500 hertz is the future. Oh man, who needs that? And also, who can drive any games other than CS:GO at 500 FPS? So yeah.
I mean, it depends on whether the developer puts any effort into actually making it so the engine and stuff works.
Yeah, that's true.
Because the proven thing with how much performance you can get out of Doom Eternal, because they specifically went through and built everything to run at very high FPSs. Their plan was to make it so the engine would operate correctly at 1000 FPS.
Yeah, that's true.
And stuff. So it's just kind of a case of they went through and built their system to work properly at that.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of a case of,
there we go.
If you build it, it will work kind of thing, but it requires developers and so on to want to build it.
Yeah. That's good though, yeah, because like in older games, that's usually what is the true death knell of a game engine, is that it just doesn't scale anymore.
Yeah.
This is always the bit that I get hung up on with these PS4s, is just getting this top lid off. I forget if it has to slide or if it will just break off. I need a prying tool, that's where I'm getting stuck. Oh, there's one right there.
I need equipment.
Whoop. Need to get a prying tool in there and go. I also need to get a mat on the table again. Come on, you bastard. Get off.
I'm the one who took the mat away.
I did. Oh, there we go. I just got it. I just found the right angle and it just went pop. There we go. Right. Firstly, no, the fan looks good. I'm actually kind of tempted just to turn it on super quick and just see if the fan spins on it, just to find out if this is actually a dead fan or whether it just needs dusting out. They said the fan on it wasn't working, but I'm not sure what that means. So I'm actually going to quickly grab a figure of 8 lead and plug this in and just see if the fan spins.
There is a short one down there.
Yes. Oh no, that's a C16 cloverleaf.
Very well.
Oh, the figure of 8 that I usually steal when I need one is the one that's on the light. Now I actually have to find one that I can use. Ah, here's one. Oh, it's only a short one as well, but it's good enough. Oh, there was one right behind me after all of that. Oh, well. And power. Right, just need to see if this fan spins, basically. Bam. Oh, it's not going to turn on while the covers are off, is it? How does it know which covers are off? I know that this is a thing. Oh, there it goes. Yeah, that fan's spinning. I can feel some faint airflow. This isn't as bad as the last one I did. Power that off again. I should plug in a monitor and power it off properly, I know, but it'll be all right. Okay, let's see. That'll do. Okay, right. Reading through the chats. Rule 1, never trust anything the client says. Yeah, I'll certainly take it with a pinch of salt. I would agree with that. Turnip Gaming 97, thank you very much for the £5 super chat. Good afternoon, lads. After upgrading to your Series S and playing games at 60 FPS, I don't think I could play modern games at 720p 30 ever again. Absolutely. All the console, like, PC gamers have been saying this for years to console gamers. We're not being snobs. You guys literally don't know what you're missing. Like, for all the time, people are just like, oh, I'm fine with 30 FPS. I'm just like, you're saying that because you've never seen 60.
You're also saying that probably because you've got a monitor with a pixel response time of an hour.
Yeah, because some TVs have got just, yeah. I never realised
some
until...
desktop monitors have response times that are like 20, 25 milliseconds.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, so you can't even display 60 FPS on that properly.
Gross, yeah. Because it wasn't until the advent of Netflix and stuff that, like, I had family members who were wanting to watch Netflix on their TV. So I'd show them sort of, oh, look, you can plug your laptop into your TV and display Netflix on it that way. And it was when I saw that, and they were just like, oh, yeah, there's some slight audio desync. And I'm like, what do you mean? And there's some slight audio desync because the TV's response time was big enough for there to be a visual audio desync. And it was just like, it's ridiculous. So yeah, it's worth it. And I think that's why the latest gen consoles are really good, because they're actually caring about frame rates now. Instead of just saying, oh, 4K everything, they're actually saying, no, we're looking for 60 FPS for the most part, at least, anyway.
And the 120 hertz modes have been pretty good so far.
That's good to know, because all the times where they've also been saying sort of 120 hertz, I've been very dubious about that. Are there many games that actually do that?
Not necessarily straight having 120 hertz. 120 FPS mode in there, but using 120 FPS monitor support to give a 40 FPS mode, which is definitely worth it, because it cuts the millisecond delay per frame in half. Going from 30 to 40 FPS reduces the millisecond delay per frame in half.
Ah, fair enough.
40 FPS is perfectly in between 30 and 60.
Yeah. Because I know certainly when you're dealing with low frame rates, 40 is significantly higher than 30, you know.
What?
What are you up to?
I'm so confused by all of this. Oh, dear.
Trev said he played Killzone 2 on a HD TV, measured 500 millisecond input lag using a slow-mo camera.
Yeah.
Good grief. And again, this is why TVs with a game mode are actually really important, because the game mode's specifically designed to reduce input lag by switching off some more of the post-processing.
And also it will probably look better because it's turned off some of the processing.
Right, there we go. That's the back cover. And I'm going to put that thermal pad back on the memory chip. Sorry.
This is so bizarre.
Right, and now I need to start taking the back off, because, yeah, we need to go all the way down to the fan here. Yeah. I always question, anyone else who does work on consoles, is it worth doing the thermal paste? Because I've been doing the thermal paste on the past few of these that I've done. However, I have found myself questioning whether it actually needs to be done or not.
Why wouldn't you?
Yeah, well, it's significantly more work to get down to the thermal paste, basically. Like, to be honest, I've probably exposed enough of this. If I take the back cover off and take the power supply out, at that point I will have done enough that an air compressor will easily get the dust out. However, getting the heatsink off to do the thermal paste is that bit extra work, because you've got to take the motherboard off and all the rest of it. So, you know, it is extra work, basically. But yes. And for, let's see, Sleepwalker says, what's wrong with it? It's clogged up with dust, basically. Which side end am I taking off? It's this end, I think. This is probably my first time taking one of these apart without having the iFixit guide in front of me. So that's why I'm a bit like, what do we do now? And possibly not doing it in the most efficient order. Come on, one more. And yeah, it drastically reduces the fan noise. Some cobwebs. Right, there's the fan, and yeah, there's some good dust blockage in there. Fan feels in great condition to me. There's no wobble on the bearing or anything like that. So I don't think there's anything wrong with that fan. I think they just heard a lot of fan noise and it was shutting down on them. And they just assumed that the fan was actually broken. It's like, no, it's just clogged up with dust. Which is what happens. Because a lot of people these days, like the last one of these I did, the customer said, you know, it doesn't get used for games that often, but it gets used for Netflix and YouTube. And so clearly that customer, they don't have a smart TV, so they're using their PlayStation 4 as a home entertainment center. And so for that reason, it has a huge number of on hours, even though it's not actually doing much. Right, looking through the chat. Main issue why PC gamers swear by 60 FPS is that the mouse is an order of magnitude more responsive as an input. Yeah, I think that, and also the fact that you're much closer to the monitor, whereas when you're a sofa to a TV's distance away from the screen, I think a low frame rate is a lot less jarring than it is when you're maybe half a meter away from the screen. Yeah, and also it has been a very hot summer. This is true. And once a device gets past a certain point with heat, you bake the thermal paste as well. Like a lot of the time in videos, I often say sort of, oh, the thermal paste will be cooked or the thermal paste will be baked. And what I mean by that is if the device has been sitting at like, you know, 80, 90 or 100 degrees, it's been sitting at TJ Maxx, the thermal paste just goes dry. It just dries it out. And at that point, it no longer performs properly. So, Brutal Pizza, hello there. Thank you for the £5 super chat. Opinion on PSU tier lists? I don't know. They seem to be reasonable. I think they should be used as a guideline because some people get really snobby about power supplies when it doesn't particularly matter. However, I think the tier lists are a good guideline to go by. You know, like if you're looking to buy a PSU, it's probably worth looking at where it is on the tier list just to check what to expect from it. If it's a low-tier PSU, it might be completely fine for a low-end machine. But that does tell you, you know, like, for example, because the thing is, high wattage doesn't mean it's a good power supply. So if you're looking at a suspiciously cheap gold-rated kilowatt power supply, if it's really low on the tier list, probably too good to be true. Whereas, you know, if you're looking at, say, a 500 or 600 watt gold, and it's low on the tier list, but you're sticking it in a low-end gaming rig with an old graphics card in, it's probably going to be fine, you know. But then also, you can get good power supplies for not much money if you shop around, you know, and also keep an eye out for deals. Like, I think it was last week, there were, what did I buy over there? Corsair TX 650Ms, were those?
Yeah, that seems about right, if they're the ones that Chris
Yeah, were they 650? I'm just going to go and quickly check. Yeah, Corsair TX 650M power supplies, they were 40 quid a pop. And I bought a couple of them just because I had them in stock. So it's just like, at any given time, if you look around, there's going to be a trusted brand power supply. And by trusted brand, I mean someone who is known for making power supplies. This is why, you know, like the Gigabyte situation. Yes, Gigabyte are a good brand, but they're not well known for making power supplies. So, you know, whereas Corsair, kind of made a big name for themselves in power supplies. So, you know, among other things, obviously. I'm going to put my bottle back here because there's dust coming off of this.
It's filled with dead people.
Dead skin. Oh no! I sighed in content. I was like, "Phew," kind of thing, and immediately some dust went out of it. So yeah, let's see. What did other people say? Just read Hardware Busters and reviews from Aries. Yeah.
Yeah, Hardware Busters is regarded by a large number of people as the gold standard. Because I don't know of anyone else who's doing reviews who has that much knowledge about power supplies.
Yeah.
I mean, like, GN are doing some reviews on power supplies, but they don't have that level of knowledge that Aries has.
Yeah. Although, again, it kind of... Yeah, it depends on what level of knowledge you need. Because I think GN are good because they've got the testing equipment and they know how to run the tests. So even if they can't tell you about why a particular MOSFET that has been chosen is a good choice, they can run the PSU on their test rig and say, yes, this meets the expected specification. And that's the important thing, that it can actually be load tested with a proper load tester. Which is why, to a certain extent, you know, the LTT labs will do an adequate job, because even if they don't have the same level of knowledge yet that others have, they do have the equipment that can at least do a pass-fail and just check if the PSU can actually output what it says it can. Because that's the most important thing that you need. You know, if you're not even meeting your label spec, then that's just an automatic no bueno.
Yeah, absolutely.
Also, DP says, does Seasonic make Corsair? I think so, but they're very tightly integrated.
It depends is the answer to that. It depends on which model you're looking at, because China Well and the other really big OEM also make Corsair products, so it depends on which one. I can't remember.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Okay, yeah, so some of them is the answer.
So it's a case of it very much depends. However, Corsair do design their own power supplies.
Yeah.
So they will be different power supplies to Seasonics.
Yeah, so that's the thing. Corsairs, even for the ones that Seasonics make, they're not rebrands. They're Seasonic are just one of Corsair's manufacturing partners.
Yeah, it's in a similar fashion to say that like AMD processors aren't AMD processors because TSMC fabbed them.
Yeah, they're a manufacturing partner.
Yeah, that would be an inaccurate statement.
Yeah. Right, we're nearly there. We're nearly there with the Blu-ray drive. I've just got to disconnect it now. Yeah, EVGA use Seasonic. Yeah. EVGA power supplies always seem to be a reasonably good bet. I've seen some failed ones, but EVGA power supplies don't change my world. But if you put one in your computer, you're not going to have a bad time. I always get nervous by the fact that these drives are just open; they don't have a bottom cover.
Oh.
Yeah. So it's just a bit like sort of, oh, okay, that's just exposed mechanism. Although that is handy if you want to resolve a jammed drive, because it means you don't have to take it apart any further to just poke a screwdriver in there to operate the open and closing mechanism. But yeah, kind of interesting. That's the slot load drive. So as a disk goes in, it pushes these bits apart. And as it pushes them apart, that bit there swings in and pushes against a micro switch. So the drive can detect that a disk has been inserted and start operating the motors and so on and so forth. Slot load drives are really hecking cool, but they're also needlessly complicated in my opinion. Although that much being said, the modern slot load drives in modern consoles seem to be significantly more reliable than slot load drives of old. Right, what do I need now? I think we're ready for the motherboard. Those two screws out, and then I think the motherboard's going to pop off, if my memory serves me. I'm going to go for it.
I'm intrigued by the amount of clicking this monitor sounds like it's doing. You know the sound of a relay?
Interesting.
Like powering on and off. When it's restarting and stuff, I'm just hearing a relay click from here. I was like, what?
Right. And Brutal Pizza with the £5 again. Thank you very much again. Do we still use GameMax PSUs?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I don't buy them very often because I buy whatever is a good deal at the time when I'm buying power supplies. And for a while that was GameMax, and I fitted quite a lot of GameMax GP series power supplies. And to date, I've only had one bad one, which is pretty good going for considering I fitted quite a few of them. I'm missing a thermal pad. I'll have to stand up and have a look for that in a moment. Oh, there it is.
You could, I was going to say, if you know how thick it is, you could replace it because you've got 1 and 1.5 mil pads. Oh.
I think that's overkill. Yeah. So, yeah, I have used quite a lot of the GP series and they've been fine. I wouldn't put them in high-performance computers personally because, as I say, you can find better brand stuff for reasonable prices if you shop around. They're good for low and mid-range builds, and we've got the GameMax RGB series ones in this bench, which is running a 3090 and a 5950X, and it's trucking through that just fine. And we've got the 800 watt version of this kicking around, and that's done some workhorse stuff for us as well. So, you know, we haven't had any problems with them. Like I say, personally, if I was building high performance, I just buy Corsair these days because you just, you know, they're good bang for buck, and you know it's going to work.
Yeah.
You know,
or the Be Quiet Dark Power, is that what they're called? Dark Power 11s?
Yeah,
those ones?
I don't know how I feel about Be Quiet because a lot of their power supplies are dual rail. I don't know about the high end ones. Their lower end ones, like the Pure Power, I think they are split rails, which is obviously and these days split rails is a bit like sort of you know, it's
depends, because if that's a split rail, so there's a single rail going to the 24 pin and the EPS, and then a single rail doing the other 12 volt, then that makes sense to me.
Yeah. There we go. Whoops. Huh.
What?
No, that's the thermal paste was probably okay on that actually. For a moment, I was like, has that been replaced before? But no, the thermal paste was not cooked on this. Yeah, that would have been okay. I'll replace it now that I've taken it off, but that was actually fine in my opinion. I'll check the BIOS battery while I'm here as well, since I'm this deep in. Oh, thank you. Whoop. I've still got the good old big Antec. I do. The Antec is still the main testing power supply. I haven't used a modern Antec in a hot minute though, so I don't know if they're actually any good these days. Right, and the battery is 3.197. That's fine. No problems there. All right, let's stick you back there. Have a quick drink and read the chat. Make the chat a bit bigger because it's too far away from me. That's easier to read. There we go. Shouldn't the thermal paste be more resistant to heat? Theoretically, yes. However, stock thermal paste will be some cheap, nasty stuff that just doesn't last long.
Well, it's also the case, though, that as far as I understand it, being able to tolerate higher temperatures reduces its ability to transfer heat. So it's, as with all of these things, that trade-off in longevity, in operating temperature range, actual performance.
Yeah.
It's obviously a case of, for a lot of stuff, you'll want there to be some performance.
Yeah, and also you've got to consider the fact that thermal paste has a shelf life before it will be worn out. or will potentially begin to wear. And like this PS4, this is the old Eraser design. This might even be. I don't think this is a day one, but this is obviously one of the early ones. It's not a PS4 Slim or anything like that. It's a PS4 original, so that pegs it at what, minimum of 6 years old. I mean, when did the PS4 Pro come out?
I mean, the original
Slim
was 13 years ago, wasn't it?
Yeah. Then the PS4 Slim came out, at least sort of 5 or 6 years ago, I think.
Yeah.
So that means that even if we assume this came out the day before the Slim, there's still. That's a very low score you just got. So yeah, this thing has got to be several years old. So even just regardless of everything else, the thermal paste in it is old. It's not an inert element. Yeah. So the Pro was 2016. Wow. So yeah, like again, the Slim would have been out at the same era as the Pro. So just all things considered, this thermal paste is old. So I shall replace it anyway. However, the past couple of these I've done, when I've taken it off, the thermal paste has actually been dry. It's been a matter of, oh yeah, that's dead. That needed replacing. This is still tacky. So.
And now you can start an argument.
I'm going to use, ceramic or the MX5. I'm going to stick the MX5 on there just because I'm trying to use this stuff up. It's nearly dead, so.
Oh.
Get the worst of that out. We don't need to sterilize it, just needs to be a clean top. Why doesn't NVIDIA add a big capacitor to relieve the power spikes? Guess they're trying to make the PSU makers implement a bigger cap instead. It's
because there's
tricky.
already so much input capacitance anyway.
Yeah, they have a lot of input capacitance, but what did I say? Oh. You're still getting 11,000. What are you doing over there? You seem to have halved to the scores you were getting earlier on.
So I'm presuming it's some sort of error correction.
And
I presume the Infinity Fabric is error correcting.
Okay.
Because I have booted into Windows at an Infinity Fabric clock of 2067.
Okay, yeah, that's pretty high.
So yeah.
Right.
However, it's clearly erroring or something all over the place, but not enough to actually crash it, thus halving the performance. Well, less than halving the performance.
Right, I'm going to take this all out the back and dust it in a sec. So yeah, big capacity. Yeah, the other issue as well is that the problem is not as simple as just putting. It's twofold, because if you put a lot of output capacitance in the power supply, so capacitors on the power supply, that helps the power supply absorb a transient to an extent, but you need to add a lot of bulk there, and a lot of output capacitance on a power supply isn't always good, because it also means you don't get nice decisive on-off from the power supply and things like that. There's a balance to strike there, depending on what it's doing. And we're getting deep into electronics engineering and the edge of my knowledge. And
but it's also...
the other issue is that if you put in the kind of transient response capacitance you need is also really fast. So you need really fast capacitors, and big capacitors are slow. So you also need capacitors that have really low ESR as well. And this is why they have all of the capacitors on the back of the GPU. All of the MLCCs on the back of the GPU, they're all there, and they're all tiny little caps because they're all really fast. So it's a really difficult trade-off. And if you put all that bulk capacitance in the power supply, it wouldn't respond fast enough because it's got to get all the way down the wires. So it's actually a harder problem than you would imagine to solve. I don't know the answer to it. However, yeah, that one's actually harder than it looks. I can tell you that much. Have I tried MX6 yet? I haven't yet. Also, howdy, Darn Shark, how's it going? I might have a look at MX6 soon because I'm about to finish off this MX5, so I might have a look at MX6 and see if it's any good. The 6900 XT has like 4 caps. That'll have big tantalum caps on it, and those are still relatively low ESR. But tantalum caps, that's a trade-off of reliability versus performance. So
perfect example though of
that was a door banging or a gate banging or something like that. It sounded like a crash.
That was violent.
Yeah. It's
a perfect example though of having to benchmark your overclocks to see if you're actually gaining performance. Look at the score.
Yeah, so that's 27,000, yeah.
27,000, right? I now restart and increase my clocks and don't crash.
Yeah.
But the score goes to 11,000.
Yeah. Fair enough.
So, prime example of you need to actually test your overclocks.
Yeah.
And see if you're actually gaining performance.
Yeah, just because you're getting higher indicated clocks doesn't mean it's actually doing more work.
Yeah.
About thermal paste on consoles. Some people forget that in modern consoles are specifically designed to turn itself off again when it gets too hot to protect it from internal damage. Yeah, this is true. Right, I'm going to quickly walk out the back and airline all of this. Oh, power supply as well. I'll be back in just a moment.
Why can't I hold all of these plastics?
Now I need to put this down so I can take my mic off so I don't go into the mic.
It's okay. You could put the microphone next to an ultrasonic cleaner and turn it on.
That's what it sounds like.
It does. Oh, ow. These. Yeah. All right, there. Excuse me. There you go. MX5. Oh, really? MX5 has already been replaced? Because didn't MX5 only come out last year? So yeah. Apparently we've got MX6s. Yeah, you can just about hear the air dusters on the microphone still. No. I mean, the easy... come here. The easy answer to a question of, is there MX6, is go... Arctic MX6. And if you search for Arctic MX6, and the Arctic website comes up and gives you MX4. Why do I need thermal paste?
I just remembered I forgot to take the actual fan out to get like the money shot, the bit that everyone wants to see.
Thermal interface. Thermal interface. Available through the Arctic website, there is only MX4 and MX2. Interesting.
I'm sure I saw the existence of MX6 somewhere else, but I couldn't tell you where, so I might be talking out my ass.
If I search for Arctic MX6, the first Google suggested result is Arctic Space Arctic Fox price. So, yeah.
So basically, we're not convinced that MX6 actually exists yet. I know they'd retired MX5 because they just seem to have issues with QA on it.
Oh, there is a company apparently called Connect Tech Inc. mentioning something called an Arctic Edge IMX6. Which I am looking at now. It is a quad-core 800 megahertz ARM CPU.
Very well.
Very well. And I guess that people are conflating Arctic and MX for it to be a thermal paste, even though it looks basically like a Raspberry Pi.
No, yeah, Arctic MX. Yeah, I see what you mean. Right, I'm going to disappear again. I've taken this off. It's actually, I mean, it is dusty. If you go back to OBS.
That's not OBS. That's OBS.
Give the
Bench cam.
bench cam again. Yeah. There's the. So I've just taken. I'll just put this roughly in place. So this was here. I've just taken out the last couple of screws so this guy would come off. And there's our heatsink, and the fan has like one more screw holding it in. Yeah, there is a carpet of dust on the heatsink you can see there, but it's not awful. I've seen worse. Again, I'm a bit concerned about this one because the customer was just like, "Oh, the fan doesn't work," and I'm like, "Well, the fan was spinning, and it's not that blocked." So I don't know. I think I'm just going to keep going and then just say we've serviced it, see how you get on with it, and see what they say.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, I'm going to go and carry on dusting.
I was going to say, because I'm not entirely certain what else you could really
No.
do with it. I guess the only other thing you could do...
The fan was spinning, so the fan hasn't failed.
Yeah, I guess the only other thing you could do is just turn it on and see if it turns off in 10 minutes.
Yeah, I could do. Yeah, when we put it back together again, we'll switch it on and we'll just leave it on a picture.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Just see if it dies in 10 minutes, so yeah. What is the best thermal paste? Entirely as JD says, it depends on your use case. And I need to remember to change the camera. Boom. There we go. Hello! Yes, it entirely depends on use case. If you're going sub-zero, you need specific thermal pastes that are designed for sub-zero. If you're going, if you're doing specifically very high temperatures in like laptops and things like that, high 80s, 90s, maybe even 100, you'll want a completely different paste for that use case. And like Cryonaut, for example, doesn't work well when its average operating temperature is like 90°C. And people have been getting better results with MX4, MX5, the Gilead Extreme or whatever it's called, stuff like that. So yeah, so it depends on your use case, what you're looking for. To a degree, as long as it's a thermal paste, it's designed to work ambient temperatures, something like Hydronaut, something like the Gilead ones, Arctic, Silver, Ceramic, Arctic Cooling, MX4, etc. They're all basically going to be fine. The Noctua, NH1 paste, etc. All of those are going to be fine. So it doesn't particularly matter which one you use. It's just, yeah, knowing what it's designed for, or what its sort of thermal range is important. Did I hear about the Arctic gaskets? Yes, I did. Have I checked if these ones are affected? No, I have not. I will, at some point, double check. And if they need doing, that'll be something we'll possibly do here, because I have 2 of these that are potentially within the purchase date.
How do you check? Do you have to look at your purchase date, or is there actually a serial number written on it?
There's a serial number somewhere on it, and you just double check the serial number and see if it's in the range. So yeah, I'll check it at some point. Yeah. Oh dear. Is it nice and clean now, or at least dust free?
Yes.
Excellent.
Yeah,
it
more
has
or less.
been improved.
Yeah. Like I might grab a paintbrush and just quickly run over small bits. Like let's bench cam. So like there's some bits here. There we go. Like that rubs off. This is stuff that compressed air will miss. So if you want to get anal, you could go over all of this with a paintbrush or even a cloth just to wipe off the last of it. However, I don't sterilize it because that's fine basically. Likewise, I've just dusted out the entire side of the case. There's still some bits left there just because the air compressor doesn't get all of it. So I usually grab a paintbrush and just manually brush out the last of it there. And again, I think that's just aesthetic at that point. But, you've gone this far, you may as well do the rest, So, yes. Did we hear about the stupid PS5 price increase from Sony? Yeah, I don't know how I feel about it. I mean, in a way, I'm not surprised because it's an expensive bit of equipment and they probably were taking a loss on them.
And also, that's what happens when your currency crashes. Stuff gets more expensive.
Yeah.
Looks like the price increase has been in the European market. The euro has crashed.
Yeah.
It's been in South American markets where their currencies have crashed. It's been in the Japanese market where the yen has crashed even harder.
Yeah.
So it's like that's what happens when your currency becomes worthless. People need more of it to equal their currency.
Thus far, like, I'm not heartbroken or anything because I'm not really invested in the PlayStation ecosystem, but in my opinion, the PS5 so far has not proven itself to be a good value for money investment. Because, yeah, it's just at the moment it really feels like a Series S or a Series X was the better buy, because they were cheaper and there's more available for them, and there's just, you can just do more with an Xbox at the moment.
I don't know why you'd buy an Xbox though.
If you don't already have a gaming PC, is the answer to that one.
Well, yeah, absolutely. But like, I don't understand why you'd buy one when you had a computer that was even in any way capable of playing games.
Well, I mean, a Series X is a fairly decent gaming PC.
But if you already, that's what I'm saying, if you already had a PC that can in any way play games with a dedicated graphics card, with a CPU that's not 18 years old.
Yeah, you can apply the same argument to a PlayStation at that point. So then it's a matter of, does the PS5 have any worthwhile exclusives then?
But the PlayStation platform has far more than the Xbox platform does. Because as far as I'm aware, there are no Xbox exclusives that haven't come to PC.
Yeah, I suppose.
That's what I'm saying.
So the question is, are there any PlayStation exclusives that you care about?
Yeah, and it's a case of obviously they can also be PlayStation 4 exclusive as well.
Yeah, so if you already have a PS4, sure, or if you want to play some exclusive, then pick up a secondhand PS4 Pro or something like that. But like, there's been hardly anything for the PS5, anything meaningful in my opinion. So yeah.
I mean, there's been
also Trev just points out as well, a lot of people only have a laptop, and just getting a desktop PC set up isn't viable. So
absolutely. But that's what I'm saying. If you have a computer that is set up for gaming,
that's the thing.
I don't know why you'd buy the Xbox. You'd buy the PlayStation because it has games that you don't have access to. Yeah.
So the question is, are we answering this as someone who has a gaming PC or not? Then, isn't it? Because if
the Series S. Sorry, I'm saying that for the Series X. For the Series S, it makes absolute sense because it's £200.
Yeah, the Series S is mind-blowingly cheap.
It's £200 plus £300 for a really, really good cheap TV.
Yeah,
£500, you're done, and you're done for 7 years.
Yeah, that is a very compelling product.
I mean, into play into other things, it might not seem particularly good, but a case of a Series X plus Xbox Game Pass, you can buy direct from Microsoft in their special little bundle thing, and you pay £20 a month and they give you the console. Kind of thing. So it's a case of you don't need the money up front.
Sleepwalker says they sell about 15 PS5s a week and maybe 30 X consoles at work.
Yeah,
that's a lot. I have to admit, I thought the PS5 would be outselling the Xbox, just by virtue of the fact of, I think the PlayStation brand has more power than the Xbox brand does. But that's not based on any actual knowledge per se. That's just what I thought. If you asked me to guess, that would be my answer. So that's interesting to hear that I'm wrong. Although perhaps just the prohibitive price and lack of availability of the PS5 has rendered it out of reach in most people's eyes. So most people are going, no, we're going to go for an Xbox because you can't get PS5s for good money.
Even if you can.
Yeah. So, yeah. They're just not bothering. They're just going out for an Xbox instead. Fine. Hang on a sec. Let's sort those out in a moment. Right, let's get this pasted and put back on. But yes.
Squidge.
That'll do. Make everyone really mad and just suck the excess back into the tube.
What else are you supposed to do?
That's my question exactly. However, it makes people really angry if you draw the tube back to pull the excess back in.
Oh, that's a shame.
Yeah. There's a reason why YouTube channels get really sick and tired of the thermal paste argument, because just as soon as they take the thermal paste out, someone in the comments is already writing a rage-filled remark, like, ah! And you're like, chill. All right, which way around does that go? That way around. Okay. Put this guy back in.
Oh no. What?
What are you up to?
Getting confused by RAM timing naming.
Very well. Right, that goes on. Now I shall put on my thermal pads again.
I have no idea.
Again, does anyone in the chat who does this, is it worth replacing the thermal pads? I never bother because, you know, you can reuse thermal pads, but is there actually a benefit to it at all? Right, that now is going to go on, and that is going to go that way around. Nope,
no,
I lied. That's going to go that way around. There, lining up the screw holes.
Oops. Do not set this number to 4 when it should be 48. TRRDL.
And then...
TRRDL.
Oh, hang on a sec. I'm too soon.
16.
Backplate on first.
TWT. Explaining this to people who aren't directly looking at something. Oh yes, you need to set your TWRWRDD to 7.
It sounds like you're coming up with a jingle for something.
4.
As long as you don't rip them apart, they're good to reuse. Okay, that's good to know. Paste yes, pads no. Yep. Chromebooks are the biggest sellers. Yeah, Chromebooks are selling like wildfire at the moment just because also all of the schools are telling people to go out and buy them, which is, I don't know how I feel about that because they're
saves them buying £200 HP Stream 14s.
Yeah.
Which is a better purchase.
Yeah.
Look me in the eye and tell me a Chromebook is a worse purchase than the Stream 14.
It depends because the problem is like Chromebooks are just that there's lots of Chromebooks out there where you're just buying a laptop with 90% of its functionality disabled.
What functionality? What functionality does a Stream 14 have that a Chromebook doesn't?
Yes, no, I agree that the HP Stream laptops are also garbage.
And the Stream 14 is the same price or more expensive.
Yeah, the issue as well, though, is that a lot of people are being recommended to buy Chromebooks that are like i3 CPUs and stuff like that. So, like there's a lot of Chromebooks out there with like mid-range laptop specs, but it's running Chrome OS. And people keep coming in with these Chromebooks going, oh, I need to do this, I need to do that on this laptop. I'm like, you can't. It's a Chromebook. That's not what Chromebooks do. And they're like, this was £500. I'm like, whoops.
Yeah.
You know, it's just, I like the concept of the Chromebook, but it's just not being implemented very well. So, yeah. So, yes, it's a bit tricky. Teltac says, what functionality does a student need other than word processing? Well, obviously...
And being able to look at YouTube.
Yeah. Also, though, like, you know, people want to connect up. Like, printing is a bit weird from Chromebooks, I think.
Plug in the printer, click print.
Well, that's assuming that it's got drivers for that printer, right?
True, but as far as I'm aware, it's exceedingly generic drivers.
Yeah, but what if you want to then scan as well?
Yeah.
What if you want to print wirelessly? You know, will it have the utility to set up the printer wirelessly?
I mean, again, as far as I'm aware, but also the fact of I've never tried.
Yeah.
Because any time someone says, oh, wireless printing, I'm just like, nope.
Yeah, and like every now and then someone will be like, oh, I want to watch a DVD on this laptop. I'm like, oh, you just plug in a DVD drive. Oh wait, it's a Chromebook. You know. And again, you know, I'm kind of grasping at straws here because I can't think of anything in the heat at the moment. But
you tell them to use Netflix.
Go and get a subscription to Netflix then. You know, it's just, I don't know, man. Yeah. I have to admit, I'm speaking as someone who doesn't use a Chromebook, so a lot of this stuff there might be answers to, and I just don't know because I haven't used them. But yeah, I don't know. I do encounter this. Chromebooks also come with Windows. Yeah.
TWRWRSC.
Chromebooks do work great with printers. Okay, fair enough. Yeah. Yeah. In that case, just obviously my customers don't know how to do that then. And I tend not to help with that because I just don't do printers. So part of that is just my own ignorance. But I can't think of any examples now.
Interesting.
But yeah.
TCKE.
When you have users that are click happy and click on every link given to them, yeah, that's when I think that is the real reason why schools are recommending Chromebooks, because they can guarantee, they can more or less guarantee that the student isn't going to just immediately completely obliterate their laptop. I am not been paying attention to which screws go where, so I'm just putting a screw in every hole, and we might have to relocate some of these as we go.
Gear down mode, yeah, we'll leave that enabled.
So yeah.
Power down, disable.
Any Chromebook now you can enable Linux mode and have full-blown Linux OS. General users can't use Linux. We're not having this argument.
No. But you can enable that, and then you can just install VLC.
Yeah.
Which will allow you to play DVDs and Blu-ray straight off of the optical drive.
Yeah. So what do we need to do? Is there a package manager with a user interface?
I think so.
Yeah, because I was going to say...
I'm not sure. I've not tried because the only Chromebook I've got is too old.
Yeah, I was going to say...
But from what I've seen of it...
If Teltac immediately goes, oh, you just have to do wget VLC in terminal, and as soon as you said terminal, you've just lost the argument, you know. It's Debian-based. Yeah. I don't know. I don't use Chromebooks. However, I'm just seeing a lot of customers who, every time they come in, they seem to have issues that they can't do. A lot of customers come in with things that they want to do on their Chromebook that they feel that they cannot do. I can't think of the examples now.
Absolutely. But there's also a whole bunch of people who want to try and do stuff on a Windows machine and they can't do because it involves copying and pasting.
I guess, yeah.
Because it involves clicking on an icon for a web browser and they've been taught to click on, this is the internet.
Yeah. But by the same token, you know, if that's the level we're working at, what are their chances of being able to do that on a Chromebook, which requires them to shift out into a different mode and things like that? You know.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But I'm just saying, if you are looking to fix a problem for someone, it's not hard to fix the problem. Then you click on the traffic code.
Yeah, yeah. Google Store have an answer to everything? Well, okay. Well, yeah. Does Google Store have a DVD playback thing so you can plug in an external DVD drive and watch a movie?
Yeah.
I don't know the answer to that question. Serious question.
Yeah.
You know, again, this is the problem is I can't remember what the last problem that a customer had was. Yeah. It's just these are just issues that I do encounter. Right. Okay. Right. I was opening my phone because I had the screw layout for this saved on my phone.
It posts.
Hooray!
Now I need to remember what the hell that thing's called. Zen timings.
Oh, the last one I was working on was a different model. So the screw layout is different. I have screwed up. Get it? Screw. Ah! All right, that's fine. We'll make it work.
Why would you not want to use...
DVD, excuse me, are you from the past? People own DVDs. That's the thing they have. Like, don't get me wrong. But this is the thing, you know. I'll say to them, well, it's a Chromebook, you know, it doesn't play back DVDs. And they're like, well, my old one could. My Windows laptop could. That's the thing. I get what you're saying, but this is not what the customer sees.
Yes, your old one could, because you're attempting to do an old thing.
Well, why can my new and better laptop not do the same things that my old laptop could?
Because the world's moved on.
Okay, but I have a DVD collection with 300 movies in it.
Okay. Use an old device to play them on. Use your old tape player to play your old tapes.
I mean, yeah, but what if their old devices failed? They need to go out and buy an old laptop to play their DVDs now. You know, it's just I'm slightly
intrigued by your argument for avoiding technological progress in the sense of moving on to new technologies. Because by the same token, that says, oh, I should never buy a new processor because it's faster, but it doesn't support 8-bit programs. Okay, but if you need 8-bit programs, have an 8-bit computer.
I feel like that's not I think the DVD example is actually a good one because people do have DVD and Blu-ray collections that they want to watch. You know, and also the problem is the alternative to that is you have to pay for Netflix and probably at least one other streaming service because no other streaming service has everything. So now you need a subscription to watch the movies that you've got sitting on disc on your shelf. You know, like again, I'm kind of devil's advocating here because this is what the customer sees. This is exactly what the customer says. Like a lot of customers come in and they say, because also like I'm also being generous enough to assume that we're going to plug in a USB DVD drive because a lot of customers go, I want a laptop with a DVD drive, and I'm like, you can't get one. They just don't. That's not a thing anymore. However, you could plug in a USB one. They're like, no, I want one built in, and I think that's unreasonable. You know, you plug in a USB one. However, you know, people have old discs and stuff that they want to play back, and the only alternative to that is to pay streaming services. Which, you know, I would also be a bit unhappy about doing that if I had a DVD collection as well, kind of thing. So, I don't know. Duma says PC's not built for entertainment. They do work. Well, no, that's demonstrably false because PC gaming, you know. So, yeah, just torrent it. Yeah, try explaining to a general customer how to torrent.
Yeah. That's also just a no-go anyway.
Yeah.
Also, kind of a case of, I guess, a dedicated DVD and Blu-ray player set up in your lounge, connected to the TV.
Yeah.
So you can not watch it on an 11-inch screen?
Well, again, students. Students don't own TVs. They sit in accommodation with a shelf of DVDs and a laptop.
But also, if their kids going to school, they're going to be less than 16 or less than 18. So
okay, well, they want to watch movies in their bedroom then. You know, I mean, I don't know why customers do the things they do, but these are the things that the customers ask me. You know, like this is the thing. Like, I'm not trying to make a case to say that DVD is better or anything like that. Just this is what customers ask me for. You know, that's why I'm playing this devil's advocate perspective here, because not because that's what I think is correct, but this is what people say to me. This is what they ask for. You know, that's the problem. There is a big disconnect between what is quote unquote the correct way of doing it and what the customer is actually trying to do. And therein lies the problem. The customer is always wrong. I mean, yeah, but students famously have large DVD collections. They do. Oh, I mean, my sister did anyway. And I've got a DVD collection.
I'm pretty certain she was also a student nearly 20 years ago.
Yeah, well, computers existed back then, and you know, I've got a DVD collection as well. You know, it's not a massive one, but I've got I have a large bookshelf of DVDs, well, mixed DVDs and Blu-rays. And at the moment, they just sit there because I don't have anything that can play them. And whenever, you know, that like on more than one occasion, there's been a movie that's on my shelf on DVD that I've wanted to watch and been like, I don't have a DVD player. Fine, I'll stream it. It's not on Netflix. Okay, is it on Amazon Prime? It's not on Netflix or Amazon Prime. Right, so what service do I need to watch this movie that's on my shelf? You know, how many services do I need to subscribe to? Like, we're getting off topic here. We were originally talking about Chromebooks, but you know, the thing is just these are the problems that people encounter in real life. Don't think anyone under the age of 24 owns more than 5 DVDs. Fine.
I was going to say, I had to explain what an optical disc was to someone who was in their mid to late 20s.
Oof, yeah. I mean, again, I can't provide a decent argument.
No,
I
absolutely.
can't remember specifically what customers
but just a case of
for.
kind of, as an extreme example.
Yeah.
Obviously, by the same token, there will be people who are in their early 20s who are very interested in DVD, 8-track, cassette tapes, etc., and will know about it.
Yeah.
So it's a case of it's a continuum of knowledge, or like explaining to people what landline telephones are.
Yeah. Oh, that's not got a thing on the end of it yet.
That's not got a thing.
Oh, that's also not got a thing. Why have I not connected to the other end of this yet? Okay, that one had actually threaded. It was this one that wasn't going to thread because it needs a thing on the other side of it. There we go. I need like 2 more turns. Right, then there's that. That goes on there. Always good to have physical media in case they start cancelling certain films. Well, that's just it. I'm actually moving back toward physical media because I'm sick. Like, again, I've gone off on a tangent here, because when the discussion of being able to play back physical media is actually a discussion of the problems with streaming media, and I'm sick. And I'm really bored of the number of streaming services that I seem to need in order to watch what I want.
So if you want a demonstration of a performance difference of a 5950X to a 5800X 3D, Limpack Extreme,
Yeah.
8 gig, runtime, 68.6, 68.5, 68. 68.6, 68.5, 66.6.
Okay.
Fine. Approximately
high 60s.
318 to 327 flops, G flops. Right?
Okay, high 60s, 318, 327. Yeah.
5950X, 39.6, 39.5.
Ooh. Bloody hell, that's, yeah, like that's almost half the time. And yeah, those gigaflops I can already see from here are like twice the amount.
Yeah, 318 compared to 550.
Yeah. This is a very core dependent load though, isn't it? Like core count dependent load though, isn't it?
It's compute and memory bandwidth.
Yeah.
Yeah. But like, if you want a fabulous example of L3 cache can't save you.
Yeah.
It's like, oh boy.
Right.
Yes, flops are floating operations per second.
That goes there.
And it's talking about doing floating point maths. Because at one point being able to do floating point was impressive for computer hardware. Yeah.
I'm now just zapping screws into this. I've just got to figure out where they go. And yes, we're going with the long screw. We are definitely going through with the long screw strats where you just start putting a screw in, and if it feels wrong, you go, nope, that doesn't feel right, and you pull it back out again. So what I should have done was taken a picture of it before I took all the screws out. However, because I did one of these during the week, I already had pictures on my phone of this screw pattern. However, that was for a PS4 Slim. So I've just looked at this and been like, oh, the reference that I thought I had was for a different model. Whoops.
As long as you don't put a screw straight through the core.
Oh god. iCloud unlock. Drill hole in CPU at this specific point. This was something that iPad Rehab did as a April Fool's joke. They did a iCloud unlock video where they drilled a hole through an iPhone CPU at a very specific spot. And yeah, there were people who did that. And they were like, it was April Fool's and we drilled a hole through the CPU. No, that doesn't unlock it. That kills it. It was mind-blowing.
Whew.
Yeah.
Well then.
This is the problem. You can't have fun anymore because someone will actually do it.
Very hot GPU, bro.
Yes.
But yeah.
So what have you discovered on your fiddles over there? Where are you up to?
I have proven that a 5950X is faster in a compute-heavy task than a 5800X.
Okay, good, yeah. So what have you proven about the 5950Xs that you own, and which ones are potatoes, and what you're going to do about it? What's the takeaway from your discoveries?
That this one certainly has a dramatically better Infinity fabric, because it can even just post faster than 1900, and that one couldn't even post 1900.
Yeah.
It doesn't appear to actually be stable as high on this board as it was on my X570 Master. Because I downclocked to 1933. So, what's that? 3866. From 4933, which made it stable. But just a case of kind of, that's where it needed to be stable. So it's just a case of, that's obviously dramatically higher than the other one was doing.
Yeah.
But it's still kind of a case of, I'm just like, with regards to this motherboard, I'm still uncertain.
Yeah, it still seems to be a case of you're having to fight to get mediocre gains from a board that should be a competition grade board kind of thing.
Yeah, it's just kind of a case of it's just like, it's fine.
Yeah.
It just doesn't seem overly special, but
well,
it's
that's
also...
just it. That's the thing, is for an 800 board, it should be special. That's the problem, isn't it?
Yeah, it's also the case of, I think that I'm cooling limited. Because, like, I'm hitting 80.6.
Yeah,
C.
you are going to be losing clocks at that
So it's like I'm thermally limited.
Have you got a good mount? Because you didn't look like you put. It didn't look like you put much paste on it, or was that enough paste in your experience?
It was a reasonable amount.
Yeah.
And like I'd expect to be hitting the 80s for this sort of throughput anyway.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, it's just a case of it kind of feels like there is not that much to gain by going up to one of these boards, I think is ultimately the comment.
Yeah.
Even when you already have very good Samsung B-die and things like that.
Yeah. Oops. That's fine. That plastic cover was not secured yet.
So yeah, so it's just kind of a case of just...
Fair enough. Let's see.
But being able to post like 553 gigaflop results is kind of just like...
Yeah, that's still pretty good. One day microwaves might actually be able to recharge smartphones. Paige, how's it going, my dude?
Microwave?
Yeah,
microwave might be able to.
Yeah.
Right, sorry.
Can't wait for the day I can recharge my phone and reheat a lasagna at the same time, Paige.
Sorry, it was just the fact that you said microwave, and I processed that as being like a genre of music, like vaporwave.
Anyway.
So that's instantly where I went to, and I was just like, this is the wrong category.
Mr. Sarnock says, what board is it? It's an Asus ROG Crosshair 8.
Extreme. Fix your friends.
Sorry, not ROG, ROG. Because I've had hate in the comments for that before as well. They're like, it's not ROG, it's ROG. And I'm like, what, do you say SCSI instead of SCSI as well, do you? Do you say SATA instead of SATA? Just say ROG like a normal person.
It's SATA.
SATA. Oh.
Stop it, Ronald. Stop.
It's like vaporwave, but much smaller. Yeah.
Yes.
Core Maximus is the Intel one. Yeah, exactly that. I'm not a fan of these boards naming schemes, to be honest. It's just because every time someone says they've got a Crosshair or a Maximus, I'm just like, which one is that?
Depends on whether it's the 1, the 2, the 3.
Yeah, like I don't know. I think the mid-range is the sweet spot. It's one of the reasons why I'm a big fan of the Gigabyte Aorus Master as well, because it's an X570 Aorus Master. You know, it's so you've got X570 is your chipset. Aorus is obviously their gaming brand, and the Master means it is that a particular model of board. You know, and that's it. That's all you need to know. And because there's an Intel Master as well, right? There'll be like I assume that there's a Z490 Master.
I don't think so. I think it's called something else. I think it's called something different. But
that would be a shame.
Part of the product name is literally the chipset.
At least, yeah, because that's the problem with this one is that the chipset is not in the name. So so even if Gigabyte have called theirs something other than Aorus Master, it's still going to be the Z490 something or other.
Or Z590 or Z690.
Precisely, yeah. Or whatever they're up to now, yeah.
Z690.
Yes.
That's 12th gen.
Andrew Johnson has F-clocks questions. Am I right in setting the F-clock to 1600 for RAM that is 3200? So, yeah, do you want to... Please explain to the crowd F-clock, NEM-clock, and dividers. Crash course, go.
My response of is kind of a case of it depends entirely on what the maximum Infinity Fabric you can actually get is. Because if you find that you can get an Infinity Fabric clock of 1900, say, going, then it would be better to run an Infinity Fabric clock of 1900 with your memory at 3200 than running 3200 and 1600. Even though that is not synchronous in one-to-one, because the Infinity Fabric performance is so important for the overall performance.
Yeah, because the Infinity Fabric is dictating how fast the actual CPU cores are communicating with each other, as well as memory.
How fast the CCXs are communicating.
Yes,
the cores themselves, as far as I understand, are technically on a separate ring.
Yeah.
Which is...
However, the CCXs, which are your groups of cores, the Infinity Fabric is dictating how quickly the CCXs are communicating.
And how quickly the information gets from the I/O die, the memory controller, to the cores.
Yeah.
So, so it'd be a case of you want that to be as high as possible, without sacrificing in other places. So if you could get that to, 1866, 1900, 1933, something in that order, it would be better to have it all the way up there than have it down at 1600 in one-to-one with the RAM, based on limited testing. It'll be one of those things, it depends on how much time and effort you're willing to put into it. But it's a case of basically there is U-clock, which is the Infinity Fabric clock. There is mem-clock, which is the memory controller speed, and then there is the RAM clock. And that RAM speed is half of the DDR number, because DDR is double data rate. So it's sending data on the beginning and the end of the cycle, at the rise and on the fall. Therefore, its speed will be its actual speed. Its actual clock is half of its number. So DDR 4000 is an actual clock speed of 2000. Which is why you'd then want an Infinity Fabric of 2000 and a memory controller clock of 2000 to match that 2000 clock speed of RAM. It's the important part to, just differentiate between clock speeds and DDR speed.
Yes.
Because all those people who call RAM 3600 megahertz are wrong.
Yes.
Because there is not a clock running at 3600.
Yes. At the very least, it's
it's not a 6400 megahertz kit.
Yeah, it's certainly not 60. Yeah, like if something is doing something at a rate, you could describe that rate in hertz. However, certainly when most people say hertz, they're implying clock speed, and that is not it. So I think most people tend to go on the compromise of calling it 6400 mega transfers per second.
Or just calling it DDR 6400.
Yeah. I think mega transfers is reasonable, but you're right. Just calling it just 6400 just solves the problem because everyone knows what you're talking about when you say 6400 anyway. So yeah.
Not bad. Do you know what memory ICs you have, Mr. Simon OC 1969? Just because it's also a case of a lot of the performance on RAM is very much in the secondary and tertiary timings. So depending on which ICs you have, it's actually worth trading some primary timings for secondary timings being tighter, because you'll actually end up with greater performance. BuildZoid has done a series of 4 videos explaining all of the RAM timings. So if you have like 8 to 12 hours to dedicate to listening to it all, digesting it all, processing it on your own memory, that's a fantastic thing to do.
We need to do a sub-series of a series of videos that explains BuildZoid's series of videos that explain memory timings.
Yes.
Like, I say that jokingly, but also, like, that was probably something that would perform very well. Of people who are just like, I know BuildZoid is really good, but I can't understand a word he says.
Because he also speaks too slowly and uses an awful lot of words.
And goes on tangents.
Yes. I feel like it'd be one of those things, if you sat there with a notepad and pen, wrote down all the key points of information, and then boiled them into a paragraph, you'd end up with like a 15-minute video.
This sounds like a series that you should make and publish on my channel.
Absolutely not.
Did it.
Excellent. So using 3200, so DDR 3200.
I'm borrowing this.
Yeah, that's fine. I was going to say, give me a second, I'll hit the power button, but okay.
Illegal.
Power button. There we go. Yes, so to take Andrew's question, using what I presume is DDR 3200 RAM, the memory controller would be at 1600 megahertz. Yes, and then the Infinity Fabric would be at 1600. Cannot start the PS4. Connect the DualShock 4 using the something. Press the PS button.
Oh, okay, it's upset. It might be upset because I cut the power. Hopefully not. Let me see. Will I don't have a PS4 controller to hand. A PS3 controller might...
You need to connect it over USB.
Yeah. Oh, no, I've been down this road before. I do actually need a PS4 controller. Oh, that's annoying. It might be upset because I turned it off improperly when we started working on it. It'll probably come good, but...
That'll be fine.
Yeah.
Have I noticed that American YouTubers tend to speak really, really fast? No. I've found that most people on YouTube either talk slightly too quickly for them to be in a projecting, lecturing style, or far too slow.
Yeah.
Most people do not present at a rate of speeds that is actually conducive with the information they are conveying.
A lot of people speak slowly because they're not reading... It depends if they're reading a script or not as well. If you're reading a script, it's significantly easier to talk faster. However, for example, I speak slowly in my videos because I'm making it up as I go while I'm fixing a laptop. That's my excuse. So if you think I speak slowly, just watch it at 125 or 1.5x. Or if you're one of those, 2 or 3x. Depending on whether you're just like absorbing information or if you're actually trying to listen to a thing. You know?
It's like BuildZoid videos. I would go through them at like 3 or 4x and just be like, that's a data point. This is a data point. Rewind, play, data point. Okay. Scan through the rest of it at like 4x speed. Just because there is good data. There's a lot of good information in there. But it's a case of when you're trying to focus on a specific topic and trying to extract certain bits, there's lots of video and very little content because there are lots of bits of topics that are handled through the video.
Yeah.
So you can watch it 3 or 4 times and pick up lots of good information, but 3 or 4 different topics.
Yeah.
Instead of them being 3 separate videos that were
Yeah.
15 minutes long.
As a side note, the worst thing I've encountered recently is a YouTuber that I discovered, who I'm not going to name drop because I don't want to criticize it by name. However, YouTuber I watch, where they've got some really interesting content, but they've got an awful speaking voice where they say sentences really fast. They say sentences at a high speed with a gap between the sentences.
Oh my god, that must be really annoying.
Yeah. So if you speed them up, they're speaking too fast. But if you slow them down, there's a really long gap between every line they say. And I'm like, my God, man, you know, which is really frustrating because the content is really good.
I'll be honest, that presenting style sounds reasonably common for people who are used to people not knowing what they're lecturing on. So they're giving people time to write notes along with what they're saying.
Maybe.
However, it is quite annoying to listen to, especially if they talk really quickly in their sentences and then they give a really long pause at the end of a sentence. Then they move on to another topic and they're still talking really quickly.
Yes. Anyway. Right, I'm going to fly through the chat super quick. I think we're going to wrap up in a minute because we're reaching a stopping point. This PlayStation, it's outputting a picture. It's upset because it didn't get turned off properly. All it needs is for me to plug in a PS4 controller and be like, it's okay, they're there. Yes, check the hard drive for consistency. There we go, it started. However, as you can clearly see, it is outputting it's outputting a picture to the monitor. What's that? It's outputting a very low resolution picture, so the capture card isn't getting it. But I can assure you it's outputting a picture to the monitor. Whoops, that's not the right one. There we go.
Hello.
So yes. Anyway, so it is working. The fan is chuntering away as well, so I'll leave it turned on while we finish, just so we can make sure that the fan doesn't just mysteriously stop spinning. So yeah. Okay, rolling back just a little bit. Firephone said, did I stumble upon any new work tools that I'd like to buy? Nothing special, to be honest. I'm sort of, let me think. Oh, I saw that question and was like, oh, there's something that I'll mention to that, and then I forgot.
Because as an outsider, it looks like you've got a reasonably good handle on the tools for the stuff that you're attempting to... For the repairs that you're attempting presently, it looks like you've got the tools you need, kind of thing.
There's still a couple of odd things that I'm just like, these are nice to haves, but for example, I still need to buy a decent scope. I have been offered a free scope by people on a couple of occasions, but if I'm going to buy a scope, then it needs to be at least 100 megahertz, because I would be using that to look at VRM outputs and stuff like that. And the free ones that I've been offered have all been like sort of 50 or 70 megahertz scopes, which won't actually be fast enough to be useful when I do want to use it. So I've sort of politely declined. However, also, like, you don't really need one for repair, broadly speaking, anyway. I've got most things. I need to actually catalogue my tools, because people say, what are all your tools, and things like that. I'm like, that I wouldn't know where to start with listing them all. So I need to actually start making a spreadsheet of all of my tools. So, and then I can sort them into categories, you know, screwdrivers, soldering stuff, you know, other stuff that's nice to have, but only if you've got money to spend, kind of thing.
Yeah.
You know, and like tools where it's just like, this is something that I got as a review model, but probably wouldn't buy one. You know, it's good, don't get me wrong, but I don't really think it's critical. But hey, this is also this is honorable mention, you know.
Yeah.
And then finally, obviously, I can then do affiliate links to all of these things. But also I can do affiliate links to all of these things, but also here's a cheap alternative if you don't want this specific one. Or I have this, but I would actually advise getting this one because it's better than what I have. I just can't bother to buy. And so on like that.
Yeah.
So yeah. JD said X670E is going to be terrible, as well as a 20% early adopter tax. Most people...
How so?
Well,
terrible how?
A lot of people are just seeing the price on X670E and going, oh, it's expensive. But also, this is the flagship chipset problem.
It's also...
Most people don't need the flagship chipset.
But also, like, there's X670 boards, X670E boards for $300. And I'm like, for a top-tier chipset, that's a decent price.
Yeah, however...
I mean, there are other ones at $1,200.
Yeah.
But it's a case of, that's how product stacks work.
But also, yeah, that's the thing, is a lot of people are going, oh well, you could get X570 boards for $150, so 300 is expensive. And to that,
yes, 2 years after launch.
Yeah, A, stuff is more expensive than it was, but B, also, you don't need X670E. Gamers do not need X670E. X670E is
question whether they even need X670.
Yeah,
given the fact there's going to be a B650E.
Yeah,
and
this popped up was it in the Discord the way this popped up recently? We were talking about chipsets, and we had this conversation where just a lot of people because of Intel, we were blaming Intel because where on Intel boards you can't do any overclocking and you can't even get good memory speeds unless you have a Z series chipset.
And a K CPU. Because on 12th gen, VCCIO is artificially capped on all of the non-K CPUs, which means you can't run faster than 3600 megahertz RAM because the memory controller doesn't get enough voltage.
Yeah, I mean, that's reasonable speeds, but still, if you want exotic memory.
But it's kind of a case of, great, I bought a 12700 and I can't run 3066 memory speeds.
Oh, yeah, of course. Certainly if you're running DDR5 as well, that's a problem, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't know what the cap out is on DDR5, just because DDR5 runs it 4 times memory controller speed.
Yeah. At any rate, so the message being, so what this has done is this has trained everyone to believe that they must buy the flagship chipset. Whereas by comparison, on the AMD front, B550 has been plenty good enough for 90% of gamers, possibly even higher than 90%. The only disadvantage of B550, in my opinion, is that most B550 boards have only got 6 or 7 USB ports at the back. And if they've got any more than that, it's going to be a lot of USB 2.0 ports. However, that's only an issue for content creators who often have a lot of USB connected up. And there's a strong argument to be made that B450 was enough for most gamers as well. Although,
it was just a pity that the boards weren't quite as good.
Yeah,
they were weaker for their time.
Yeah, certainly B550 though has been a testament to you don't even need X570. Yeah. So for a lot of people who are looking at the prices of X670E and going, oh, the answer to that is don't buy X670E.
Yeah.
X670 maybe, but probably what's the new B series going to be?
B650.
B650.
B650E.
B650 is probably going to be plenty good enough for gaming PCs. And the only reason why you might need more than that is if you have a lot of PCI Express needs. So you need lots of USB, or you're plugging in lots of extra cards, capture cards, PCI Express connected SSDs, like M.2 riser cards, etc., etc.
Because you need more than 5 M.2.
Yeah, or failing that, a lot of
because on
B650E,
they're expecting to support 5 or 6 M.2s.
All at 4x speeds?
I think so. No.
Yeah.
4 at 4x, 1 at Gen 4, 1 at Gen 5. No.
Yeah.
4 at Gen 4, 1 at Gen 5.
Oh, that's fairly impressive.
There we go.
Yeah. I was half expecting, because at face value on B650, I would be going, if they actually had 4 M.2 slots, I'd be like, yeah, but you're going to run into problems if you try and run all of those at the same time.
That's on B650E specifically. For standard B650, I don't know.
Is there a B6? Why is there a B650E? X670, I can understand them making a Halo bit where it's a case of, okay, this is the flagship chipset with all the trimmings that you'd expect on a workstation board as well. That made sense. But
B650E is for the mini ITX boards, basically, because it doesn't require dual chipsets, stuff like that. Yeah. So it's going to make the mini ITX boards have a bunch of USB, have the M.2 Gen 5 and Gen 4 support, but also make it so it actually works in mini ITX.
E for extreme. Yeah, that's fair enough then.
Yeah.
At the very least, though, so, a lot of people are balking at the cost of X670E, and the answer to that is you probably, very, very strong chance that you don't need X670E.
Yeah.
So, that's kind of the answer to that, to be honest.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's kind of a case of, I don't know, I feel like B650 we're going to see an awful lot of really good boards sub £200.
Yeah.
As long as you're actually reasonable in your expectation and don't expect a VRM that delivers over a kilowatt.
Yeah. I hope we don't need that.
Well, the package tracking power, no, PPT. Performance power tracking? Performance power tracking. The maximum throughput through the socket is 200 watts or something like that. Stock. Obviously, like the Crosshair 9 Extreme and the X670E Master and stuff like that are going to have a PPT support for, a kilowatt. But no one's going to need that unless they've got liquid nitrogen. So
Yeah. The vast majority of people drastically overestimate what they're actually going to do with their computers.
I mean, it's like this. This is an overclocked 5950X.
Yeah.
And it's 200 amps at 1.1 volts.
Yeah. Was it really doing 200 amps? I'm surprised it got that high, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why it hit its ATC.
Yeah.
It's 200 amps at like 1.1 volts.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Yeah. That's how I pulled over 500 watts through that.
Yeah.
Because it can do like 450 amps at like 1. No. Yeah, I did.
This was when you were on the chiller.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
I thought you meant like while you were working on it in the
today. Today I did 200 amps.
Oh, okay. Yeah, fair enough. Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. So it's a case of kind of that's an overclocking setup.
Yeah.
Stock, it's doing 166.
Yeah.
I think it is. 177, something like that.
Assuming it's working
somewhere
properly
around there
and not,
is
like, weirdly underclocking and stuff.
Yeah, but that's what the stock package power is.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's kind of a case of it's way lower than people expect.
Yeah. We'll see what utility comes out with the new boards as well, because Andrew just said I went with an X570 for the USB ports, Wi-Fi, and the two M.2s and stuff. And yeah, like Wi-Fi as well. I don't think there's many B550s with built-in Wi-Fi. If you do see a B550 with built-in Wi-Fi, it's probably only got 6 USB ports on the back or something like that. It'll be compromising something to achieve that. And so, yeah, it starts coming down to what you need. So we'll see what they look like when they come out, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And, various talk about Threadripper as well. Yeah. Again, Threadripper is a very niche case, There's not a lot of people who actually need Threadripper. It's just straight away, if you're a gamer, you don't need Threadripper. You only need Threadripper if you need a workstation, so you're doing heavy compute or you're doing heavy video editing.
Yeah, absolutely. But it's also kind of a case of just there is no new Threadripper announcement because there's nothing competing with it.
Yeah.
At all. And this shows why competition is good. Because there is no competition in the HEDT space or Threadripper equivalent space, there's no new Threadripper because AMD doesn't need to release anything.
Yeah. They've only just come out with the Threadripper 3000 series, haven't they?
5000 series.
Oh, 5000. Yeah, that only came out very recently though, didn't it?
Yeah.
Right.
This year.
Yeah. Yep. B550 Aorus Elite had Wi-Fi and 7 USB ports. Okay, that's not bad. Yeah. Okay, it's probably improved a bit then. Yeah. It's been a while since I've looked, if I'm honest, because X570 boards have come down in price to be fairly reasonable now.
Yeah. It's also a case of, don't forget, there's effectively 2 generations of B550 in exactly the same way as there are 2 generations of X570.
Yeah, I know.
So there was B550, and then there was the B550 V2s that came through.
I know the first B550 boards that came out, the USB were a bit like,
They were fine, but they weren't good.
Yeah.
And then the V2s came through, and they were good.
Yeah, I think I haven't seen many V2 boards. So
I think the only one you've looked at is the Aorus Elite.
Oh yeah, that's the one that's in there, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think that's
the only one. And just see what that's got on the back of it, just to satisfy my curiosity. Because this board I always thought was a bit. It was good. Don't get me wrong, but it didn't change my world. Yeah, this one's 5 plus a Type C at the back.
Yeah, which is fine.
Yeah, but like I say, it's just like that's fine for most gamers. But if I were, me speaking as a content creator, so content creation over there, streaming at home, I'd be like, hell no, I would, I need more USB than that.
Yeah.
Because just to elaborate on that, what does a content creator need? Well, I mean, for at home when I'm doing my game streams, I've got mouse and keyboard. I've got webcam, I've got mic, I've usually got a capture card connected. Then I've got
Gamepad.
Gamepad. Then oh no, I'm struggling now. I need to think about it.
Well, yeah, but it's kind of a case of you're using 6 straight off the bat.
Yep, USB headset.
And then if you suddenly need to plug anything else in.
Yeah. So I just managed to go up to 7 without sort of having to do deep thinking. Then that machine over there has got 4 cameras connected to it.
Yeah.
Just straight away, 4 cameras, plus microphone, plus programmer, bench power supply, and other things. I never have everything connected at the same time. So, yeah.
It's kind of, to a degree, for me, it's a shame seeing these boards dropping, having a block of 4 Type 2s. Because I'd love to see block of 4 Type 2s, then like 6 Type 3, USB 2, a block of 4 USB 2s, and then like 6 USB 3s. So you can stick all of the stuff, it doesn't matter. Keyboard, mouse, microphone in USB 2 ports. Keep your USB 3 ports for everything else.
Yeah, JD says USB-C hubs exist. This is true, but I just don't want another box on the desk.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's what I like about the I forget the name of the board in the YouTube rig down there. Damn it, not Crosshair.
It's a something 7, isn't it?
Yeah.
6?
Maximus. It's a Maximus 9. Yep.
Yeah, because they're onto 13 on the Intel side, aren't they?
That's right. Yeah. So the Maximus 9 down there, it's got some extra ones, but the main bulk of the USB at the back of it is it's got a stack of 4 USB 2s and a stack of 4 USB 3s, and that's just really good for organization on that computer because all of just all the low bandwidth stuff I can put on the USB 2s, and then all of the cameras and the capture cards, the high bandwidth stuff or latency sensitive stuff goes onto the USB 3 ports.
Yeah.
So but I don't know. Yeah, Quentin says you've got a dozen USB devices connected. Yeah, of course. I do see a lot of people who have a lot of USB connected that doesn't always need to be connected. Like some people are just like, oh, that's the one for my camera. I'm like, you probably plug that in once a month. Just have that in the drawer and plug it into the front panel when you need it. But then on the flip side, some people are just like, well, no, I like to have the cable organized up the back. So, okay,
Yeah, but it's like, I mean, on my desk, I have USB 3 to Type C cable that's plugged in all the time, just sat on my desk. So if I need the Type C off of my camera, off of my phone, whatever, it's just there on my desk.
Yeah.
But it's a case of I've also got the ports free to be able to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very good. All right. Well, past that, I think we're done for today, aren't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, we seem to have run to the end of the conversation, and it is we're at 2 hours 50 minutes, so yeah.
Now was a good time to insert adverts.
No, the good time to insert the adverts was when the internet was about to fall over. We said this while the router was restarting. We were just like, I should have just reached and been like, advert! Just as the internet was about to fall over. I've forgotten to go back and look at the stats to actually see if that advert actually did anything.
I have no
but
idea.
It'd be really hard to check.
Yeah.
Oh well.
Hey!
1800 running perfectly. Nice. There we go.
Excellent. What would also be good, Andrew, is to see if you can nudge up the clock speed slightly on the actual RAM. So it might run at 33 or something like that, as opposed to 3200.
Yeah, a lot of RAM kits will quite happily go just at least one notch above their list value.
Yeah.
Although I guess there's probably a trade-off of if you're going to overclock the memory slightly, getting the timings tighter will probably get you a better benefit. Although, well, no, if you're sitting at like 3200, going faster will probably help first, won't it?
It depends on how much time you're willing to put into it, because obviously setting all of the timings and going through and meticulously setting timings is going to take a lot longer than just going 32 multiplier to 33.3
Yeah.
multiplier.
And also you need to know about the timings, whereas it's very easy to just be like, you know, higher speed. Yeah, higher speed go burr. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And also, yeah, as some people have pointed out, if you're not in the Discord, jump on the Discord, because then you can continue asking questions like this in the tech chat. And
Absolutely.
either you know, Caradog and myself are often about, and we answer stuff when and where we can. Otherwise, there's going to be other people about who might be able to give you answers as well. So yeah, get some more people on it. Yada, yada, yada.
Absolutely. But yes, there's lots of people talking about the RAM stuff as well the other day, so that was good. That was nice, just kind of seeing all of that.
Yeah. Excellent. Right. I've enjoyed this conversation in English.
Absolutely.
Thank you for tuning in, everyone.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you for the super
coming.
chats. Thank you for all of the things. And yeah, we'll see you next Saturday with something else. Maybe I'll finally... We didn't do either of the two things that I intended to do today.
Oh.
One day, I'll put 2 more fans in that PC.
Sure.
But today isn't that day. Right, thanks everyone. Goodbye. I say goodbye. I don't even have the button in front of me. Goodbye.
Ta-ra!